It's the Bennington Show on a Tuesday. And in just a moment or two, Paul Feig is going to do a pop-in here. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
I'm Ron Bennington. Just ready to start the show, but I see Paul's outside. Are we ready to bring him in?
Yes,
All right, Paul Feig is got another show, the Joel McHale Show with Joel McHale, available now on Netflix. Is this all being released once a week, Chris?
Once a week, yes.
Okay. Let's bring in Paul Feig. That's a little flashback to Shandling, right? Like when Shandling
I like it. I know. That reminds me of that.
Yeah.
The amazing Eli Braden did that, and it was very exciting to have him.
This project that you're involved with now, it's the Joel McHale Show with Joel McHale on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that we got him. We actually to cast him in a show called
If you're not, you're in real trouble.
It was quite a search.
Yeah. But I don't think Netflix has done this type of show before when you think of all the stuff that Netflix has.
Yeah, I mean, the only other weekly they had was Chelsea for a while. And, they were, Netflix is just such a great home. If you can get in there, I mean, everybody wants to be there. And the fact that they jumped on this just is such a testament to Joel and, his legacy, if you will.
And particularly with comedy, right? When that comedy door opened, it's like everyone ran there from every place.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing. I mean, you just kind of can't take in how big that organization is.
Right.
And you're there, and now they have this amazing giant campus that's on the old KTLA, place where they used to do that in Hollywood. And they've got stages. We tape on one of their stages. But they just do so many things. And they've been so supportive of comedy because Ted Sarandos is a big comedy fan.
Well, Joel is actually running around that campus a little bit in this. And I've never seen anyone do that before. Like I never had the concept that even Netflix was a physical place.
Yeah, no, I kind of didn't even think about that. No, they got their own studio. And it's really great. And I was such a fan of The Soup.
Right.
And was so despondent when they canceled it, because to me that's like canceling Saturday Night Live. It's just a format of, we show funny clips and then we make fun of them. That's it. And Joel's the funniest person on the planet, especially when he's doing that. And I just said, when that last show ended, because I got to be on it, of The Soup, I said, like, if God is my witness, I'm going to get Joel another show where he does this and makes fun of clips. And kind of ran around for a year and a half trying to figure out with my agents, and it just, he owned The Soup and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But then it was a chance meeting. Dogs made this show happen because I was out walking my dog in my neighborhood and ran into KP Anderson, who was the exec producer on The Soup, and we're friendly. And I said, how do we get a show like this back on the air? And he said, well, ironically, I've actually just been talking to Joel lately, and he's kind of open to possibly doing it again. And we just started having these meetings about it, and then Netflix jumped at it, and now we're streaming and we're up.
Well, when he started that show, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool because there's so many shows out there that you can't possibly watch all the shows there are to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get the funny clips. Now there's like 10 times more than when he started.
Yeah.
The Soup.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, it's great, but I would like to say he's the original, I mean, at least the Talk Soup was the original, and then, when Kinnear was doing it, but really, I loved all the hosts of it, but when Joel was on, it just somehow went to this next level because he's so funny, that's just what he's so good at.
Right.
He's been on your show.
Oh, yeah.
He's the greatest.
I've done stuff with him, and the thing about him is like he does have that broadcasting ability, to just be him in the camera, which is a whole different way to do comedy. You know what I mean? That trust that you can lock into the camera.
I'm sure there's lots of funny people who could not pull off that type of, broadcasting skills, plus be able to carry that and make it a unified, flowing show.
It's a very specific thing. I mean, Joel has that same thing that I always thought made Letterman so brilliant, was the ability to, no matter what's happening, how the audience around him in the studio is reacting, it's that with you and he, it was like, you and I get this, you and I get this joke. And that's a real, that is a real skill set.
But, the fact that Letterman was like a weatherman at one point, was probably like the kind of training, because most funny people are like, it's funny, right? Like they just want people to like, yeah, right? It's funny.
Yeah.
But that thing of, like you said, is now more of a conversation than a performance.
Yeah, exactly. It's really just, you just want, having that rapport with your audience is just it seems so simple, and yet it's kind of the hardest thing to have, that sincere, I don't know if it's a breakdown of just nerve, if you don't have the nerves that sometimes people have when they're in that situation or what, and just that relaxed feeling.
Well, anybody who's good at that is someone who you can see puts the show first. Like that it's not just about them getting a laugh or them in that moment, but being able to step back and see the big picture, and is the show flowing.
And honestly, that's a great point, because it brings up why I think Joel's so successful at this is, as funny as he is and as snarky as he is, he's never mean-spirited.
Right.
There's always something kind of like, hey, we're just all laughing along. We're not, now that I'm in the process with them behind the scenes, I see that they reject clips where they feel that it's, too mean, or if it's somebody who is, you want to make fun of in the clip actually has a problem or something. You're like, no, we can't. It's too low hanging fruit.
It is absolutely toned. There's no doubt about that. And, even if you end up the butt of the joke, it's gone. It's, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much stuff out there now, just a nonstop churn.
Yeah.
And people expect to be entertained now 24 hours a day. There's they're on the train for a minute. There's nothing to watch, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone is the consumption.
We are junkies.
Yeah.
It's so true. And now, because the politics are so crazy, and that's what's nice about this show is, the decision is made. We're just not going to do politics. If we do any kind of politics, it's about making fun of the coverage of something. But even at that, it's going to take a lot for us to really go like, okay, we got to dive into this. It's only if we think it's going to be fun and funny.
Right.
And that's about it. But, and also now, because this show streams worldwide on all the Netflix everywhere, we're able to doing more like international clips.
Sure.
Like the first episode has that hilarious thing of all these Korean soap operas where the big thing is that the characters get hit by cars all the time.
Yeah.
So we strung all those together, and it's pretty outstanding how many people get hit by cars.
But isn't it also interesting, like Australia, England, France, they all have like their own Good Morning America type shows, and everything now kind of runs the same way.
Yeah.
And I heard you today with Jim when you brought up Fernwood Tonight, which I thought was one of the most brilliant things. Mm-hmm. That was like the first time that somebody was parodying local stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That had never... and it was brilliant.
Yeah, and it's so sad I always kind of think that people know about that, but I think I'd heard it's really wrapped up in some sort of, it was music rights. They never cleared music rights.
Is that right?
That's what Fred Willard, I think, told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because it was just brilliant. If there's some way she must be on YouTube or something. Check it out, because it was Martin Mull and Fred Willard. Yeah, and a little local
and
show.
It was like the first unlikable person who you watched for, you know what I mean? Like he was so... awful. He was so horrible to Jerry Hubbins, Fred Willard, And then I always remember just like there would be somebody cool music, like Tom Waits would come out and play.
You remember the band leader? Happy Kind.
Oh yeah. Something I like literally steal this anytime someone gives me something. Mull was doing a bit where somebody had mailed him a steak, and he was like, "If you had some asparagus, it's a meal in itself." And I always act like whenever someone gives me something on the radio, one more thing would have made it perfect.
But now, was it Kenneth Mars used to go on with that chin cup?
Yeah.
He had this thing. It was a prosthetic. It was like braces for. He had a big chin, and it was slowly pushing his chin back to normal.
And then I think once he did that on Letterman, and Letterman just stared at him.
Exactly.
Because Letterman's show, go back and watch any of that Letterman stuff from the 80s.
Oh,
it was a very awkward, hilarious show.
So brilliant.
Yeah. The guests that he had weren't necessarily nice to him,
And he used to have a lot of authors on and stuff.
Right.
Well, my friend Jonathan Ames used to be on there all the time. He was great. But Pee Wee Herman had the greatest appearances.
Pee Wee Herman was phenomenal on there. Fran Lebowitz would just come out all the time.
Yeah, what a cool concept to a show that I think probably has just been so duplicated over and over. That idea of like, hey, we got this show, but it's not so great. You know, like almost like how he didn't have almost the like this is a bigger than life thing.
There's a before and after in show business with David Letterman. Yeah. Like immediately morning radio guys started to talk like him. Yeah. ESPN guys, weather guys. I mean, everyone brought that up.
And then making like the show's mess ups or bad bookings or mistakes and all that kind of stuff.
Because I always felt like Letterman almost underwrote his monologues.
Right.
Because the jokes weren't that good, but it was the fact that he then had this thing of like, between you and I, we know they don't get it, but you and I get it. It changed everything.
But immediately to act like it's a terrible show tonight was, because before that, Mike Douglas would have nothing happening, but he would act like it was the great, the greatest thing that was taking place. Dinah Shore, Merv Griffin. Everybody acted like they had a big major show. And then he came on and he was just so strange, so absolutely in the pocket with who he was, though.
And the shows don't really do that anymore now either. I mean, what I miss of late night talk shows, I'm such an old man saying this, but is when they would have authors and that kind of thing on.
Right.
But, now they're so competitive that, the minute there's some lesser guest on, the fears are just going to switch over to the other show and see Tom Cruise or whoever it is. And it's kind of a bummer because you don't get Fran Lebowitz on.
Right.
Right. And, if it's Tom Cruise, he's probably going to do 5 shows that week anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's never.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anyone who changes the needle as a guest anymore? Is like,
I don't know if they do, honestly.
Like Carson had like Burt Reynolds or somebody like that you're like, oh, this is a major night, they get a major star. But everybody's out to promote everything.
Well, we always debate this in like when we're promoting movies and stuff, is like sometimes it's like, how effective are junkets?
Yeah.
Because it depends who you are, though. It's funny because, I'm the, you do these things and they bring, you sit in a room and, the actor's in one room and the director's in the other thing. And they bring reporters in for 5 minutes at a time and they tape these things. And I always have to laugh because I do these, for days and days and days. And I'm feeling funny and giving fun answers and really this and that. And it never shows up anywhere. And you realize, I'm a director, so nobody cares. And secondly, you go like, all they're really looking for is the one moment I lose my mind and go, so-and-so's a monster.
Right.
And so when they don't get that, it's like, okay. So, the only thing I love is sometimes they'll just put them on YouTube completely unfiltered and, unedited. It's just like, I wouldn't have done it if I knew that was going to be there.
Yeah, but that is true that they'll, because I could think every once in a while, like Quentin Tarantino would get angry at somebody. And there was a thing, I think somebody asked Robert Downey Jr. about, like his past addiction and stuff. And he's like, that's not why I'm here, dude. This isn't me doing 60 Minutes.
That is strange because I guess I never really thought about how time consuming that is for actors and directors doing that. But like, usually you see maybe one clip that might, kind of surface because of a big movie, because they, I don't know, maybe had some like joke that was sexual or something. But it's never like any of the legit
answers. Get mad at the reporter.
Well, that's what happened with Tarantino. It was after some school shooting or something.
Oh, right.
And somebody started to ask him if he felt responsible because of his films, the violence in his films. And he was just like, what, man?
We haven't seen there. I haven't been good like they used to be like guest flameouts on talk shows.
Right.
The greatest. It's funny. I was just thinking about this weekend. Do you remember Crispin Glover on?
Oh, unbelievable!
That's probably the greatest flameout ever.
The kick.
Yeah, the kick. I'm strong and I can kick. That was a great one. And then obviously it wasn't a flameout so much, but when Andy Kaufman was on with Jerry Lawler.
Oh yeah, Jerry Lawler. Yeah, and he slapped
him, and then he came back on and he's screaming at him, and that was always like, you go like, is this real? Is this not real?
Yeah, they said that Letterman wasn't in on it. They were doing a wrestling gimmick, but with Crispin Glover, Letterman actually walked off.
Oh yeah,
and he goes, I forget what it was, something like, I have a college education and I don't need this. And he walks off his own show.
In the brilliance of their director, just like slow pushing on Crispin Glover sitting there. wearing that crazy wig. And you remember the next night, it was hilarious because they opened the show with that clip, and then they woke Dave up from a nightmare, and they told him that they had actually killed Crispin Glover or something.
That's what, but there's not a lot of that. Well, first of all, here's one of the problems, I think, is like if you talk to Fallon or Colbert, and they're like, well, we're in here 12 hours a day, and I'm always like, don't, man. You know what I mean? You got an hour show. Be Regis. You know, if you ever watched Regis on his show, the fact that he didn't know what was coming next was the best thing about it.
Well, I love anarchy on television. I always loved the first season of, I reference this all the time when we're developing stuff. The first season of SNL, like, there was that one, there's two things. One, when, like, Chevy just suddenly started climbing through the audience, like, over the railing and stuff. And there's something really fun behind the scenes about that. And the other one was, remember the lobster? They're like giant lobsters attacked New York City. And so halfway through the episode, it started being like, oh, this is actually happening. And then at the end, like, they throw a bloody corpse of John Belushi out in a bee costume. He's like, oh my God, he's been killed. But they were playing it real, and there were like screams and stuff, which I think goes back also to like Monty Python, when they had that one episode where the audience rebelled because they're doing this skit about eating your mother or whatever. And the audience like just starts booing. But I love that. Like, you don't get that anymore, where you're like, is this real? Is this happening? Is this not happening? I think that level of anarchy we need to bring back.
It's very, I mean, you have to be brilliant to pull that off, though. You have to be great. But
you have to commit.
Yeah, you have to commit, and you have to be doing a program that no suit cares about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That the vice president is not watching going, this is not what we paid for, you know? And that's what Letterman had going for him, and that's what SNL. I mean, when you read those books and they couldn't get Carlin out of his dressing room all week, it was just in there getting whacked out. And you're just like, yeah, but maybe that's why the show worked, you know? Because they go, what else can we do?
Frank Zappa, like, he just like crack up in the middle of things and spit out stuff because he was so like kind of semi-committed to the whole thing. But that's why, I mean, that's honestly, that's why we have so much fun on the Joel McHale show, because what I love about Joel is he really wanted to keep that kind of garage band feel for things. And so, we were developing sets. He's like, no, like, let's have a really basic set. I wanted to see this is a green screen. We're going to put people in folding chairs. And so I feel like we get that kind of, we even make sure we don't even have too big of an audience so that you kind of hear the laughs.
That is true, right?
Kind of sloppy laughs. Yeah. It just makes it more fun. Like, you feel like you're there.
Well, I was thinking that with game shows, there's 1,000 people in this thing of a primetime game show. I'm like, this adds nothing. Oh, no. And the scoreboard is, and you're like, I don't understand your game. Just have a little fun, simple game.
The sound of a big crowd is not that fun to listen to. I always love British panel shows because they're just kind of the sound of a British audience. It's a smaller audience, comedians, and then every time they've tried to like bring it here, it's too big, the crowd's too big, the set's too fancy. It's a difference between Steve Martin's first album and his second one, where, first one was taped in a club, second one was taped at like when he was playing rock concert venues. And it's you're listening mostly to like, big laughs, and it takes forever for them to die down, versus like, classic Carlin albums. You just hear like people laughing and like actually saying words, reacting to things. Comedy has to be intimate in that way, I think.
And we make that, stand-up specials make that mistake all the time.
Well, I thought Sarah Silverman was so smart with the one she did recently, where she kept in that really small club. It just you don't want to feel like every comedian should definitely be able to do these rock concert type things. But if you're going to, for the recorded one, it's smaller, I think. Yeah,
you're certainly not helping the comedy when there's a 5-minute applause break as you walk out. You know what I mean? Like,
Particularly when you're like not in it. You're not in the hype. So you're just watching like, wow, they're really enjoying themselves.
Well, if you listen to old comedy albums too, people didn't used to clap after every joke.
Yeah.
And there's something, you hate to kind of keep people, put people down for appreciating something, but there's this new language we have now where people laugh at a joke and then they applaud. And I don't quite know where that came from.
I think they're trying to be a good audience.
Yeah.
They're trying to compare themselves to other audiences. Yeah. Like, we can do this, guys.
Yeah.
Let's all pull together. Who else has done some really small,
Judah Friedlander's special this last year.
Right. Here's what's brilliant about that. He shot it on like iPhones. And he just starts with him on stage, and he's working at the cellar. It's not even his audience.
Oh, see, that's smart.
It's really, really smart stuff.
And probably the closest I've ever seen a special feel to like the real thing of actually, this is what it would feel like to be at the cellar watching.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do I love Andy Kindler. He's an old friend of mine. I always thought the greatest way to do a special with him, I would call it like 2 a.m. Wednesday night or Wednesday morning, whatever. Yeah. And it's basically whatever drunks leftover people are in the crowd, but then along the back rail are all fellow comedians. Because that's what's always when, Andy kills any time, but that was always what was so funny of like, people in the audience don't get what he's saying, and we're all just like done. Yes. Especially for any kind of comedian's comedian, that's...
Well, the thing also about Kindler is if he is killing, he tries to tell you that he's not.
Of course. No, totally.
What isn't working about this? All right, so you're going to end up producing a billion shows now because that's how the ideas
we got a lot going
coming.
on. Yeah. We love it. I love doing TV, and Lionsgate TV has been a great partner for us in a lot of stuff, and we've got other things coming out and about to direct a pilot for Freeform, this amazing show about a woman's tech incubator that we've been putting together that's super funny. And TV's in such a great place now. Movies are what I love to do, but I really am enjoying doing television.
Well, you like to move fast, and you can't always do that with film, right? It takes years sometimes.
Totally. Like with the Joel show, it's so fun. Like I normally I'm sad to leave New York, but I'm like, oh no, we're shooting a show on like Thursday. I can't wait to get back and and be there for it and all that. So really fun.
Well, congratulations to you, as always, my friend.
Thank you.
The Joel McHale show with Joel McHale is available now on Netflix.
Streaming right this second.
Anytime you want it.
Exactly.
Paul Feig, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. You are the best. Thanks so much for having me on.
Anytime. We'll see you next time.
You got it.
All the lunch trucks are back. Yesterday, remember how empty it was?
Yeah.
Because Chris had us working during the holiest of holy days, President's Day. And then today, I just hear Paul Feig's in the building. He wants to come by. Can only make it start a show. I'm like, yes.
Always yes for Paul Feig.
Love Paul Feig. How about the way he was dressed today?
Yeah, it's like hard not to bring it up every time because I know that like every time I want to discuss his suit and everything that he's wearing because he had this like great little piece on his lapel and his pocket square and his tie was great. He's the most stylish dude.
They say every girl crazy about a sharp dressed man. I don't know whether that's true, but
it is.
That's something we used to say back in the 80s, back in what I would call the MTV generation. We had Miami Vice, we had Back to the Future. Now everything's 90s, It's grunge rock and it's, other 90s stuff besides grunge rock. We used to have grunge TV and grunge movies. It was grunge food. Every morning, like, Mom, make me some grunge food. It was Seattle and stuff like that, like Seattle stuff.
Yeah. Seems like the 90s probably were more than that, but...
Oh, yeah, there was also Under the Bridge Downtown. That's where I drew some blood. Under the Bridge Downtown. Yeah, I think the name of that song was Under the Bridge Downtown. That's where I drew some blood. But, in the 70s, it was all Stranger Things and Walking Dead.
Wait, that was the 70s?
Yeah, and it was all about Tinder,
I don't know.
Wait, is this the 70s?
No, we're not in the 70s. We're in the teens, late teens.
I'm going to have some checks bouncing. Do people still does people even still bounce checks? Somebody the other day wanted to pay me $300, right? And he says to me, and it's a friend of all of us, where's my checkbook? Do you have a pen? We're in the middle of the street.
Oh, no.
And he attempted, and I'm like, I'd rather not even take the money from you.
You need to Venmo that shit.
People are against that now. I saw a thing, the New York Times was making the case of making sure people like MasterCard and American Express stop dealing with the gun industry.
Interesting, yeah.
And they say that, what was the one that you just mentioned?
Venmo.
And PayPal and stuff like that, they don't deal with them.
Really?
The new, what I call hipster millennial ways of doing money.
Sure.
Don't deal with the gun industry. I didn't even know that at all. So they're saying like this is a way to affect the gun industry without going through the fat cats down in Washington. And then the other, I was down in Washington not too long ago. I saw a skinny cat. I took a picture of it.
Oh my God.
And I just put on my Instagram, this is fat.
Times are hard, I guess.
Times are hard. You're afraid to pay the fee.
Look at what Maureen was nice enough to tweet us.
What did she tweet us? Oh, the kick in the face.
The famous kick.
I had Crispin Glover on the show many years ago when I was still just an XM, no Sirius XM. And he had come in, and nothing about him is character. I mean, he's a fucking intense dude.
Yeah.
And he's actually like evil Paul Feig. Like he dresses really great.
Yeah, he is.
But more,
like
evil.
a dark version of that.
And I forget, he was doing some kind of like story show about, I don't know what it was, like death or something. I mean, it was very strange. And then he was playing a movie that he had directed, and he takes it around the movie theaters for years at a time rather than have a release. But I remember we all felt a little odd, and he couldn't have been nicer. Could not have been nicer.
Really?
Yeah. But I heard people say the same about Hitler. They said Hitler, if you met him,
right,
spanktacular. They said it was just wonderful. But when he got together with a group of people, you don't want to have any parts of it. Thanks for opening with the cars today. I forgot that I requested that.
No problem. I take your request very seriously.
Good. Tomorrow I request stacks of hundreds.
Okay.
Another one of my things, like I said, I'd rather use money than a credit card. That's my deal.
You like cash. You like dealing with straight paper.
Well, the greatest guy in country wasn't Johnny Credit Card, was he?
No, he wasn't.
If he was, people wouldn't have listened. You know what I mean? That's why in those days we listened to Boxcar Willie and not Spaceship Willie. Because you couldn't relate. A bum on a spaceship? Hold on, got a new idea for a cartoon. But, I am buying lunch at one of these little fucking medium fast food places. They're not fast. It was terrible. Had a lobster bisque. One taste. Out the door.
Chucked it.
I don't return it. I throw it in the fucking trash and just drink a ginger ale. But anyway, so I give the fucking kid a C note. He calls the manager over.
What?
What do you mean what?
Yeah,
this is 100% of the time. Anywhere. You faked that what? You wanted to be in the show, and you faked a what? Because I know I've brought this up on the show before. And you know what you said that time?
What's that?
What? Huh? And anyway, and I had to sit there where the person looks at this like it's live and die in L.A.
And then looks at you like, does he seem the type? Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Willem Dafoe and live and die in L.A., and I'm just sitting there. I have, for some reason, a dryer, a washer and dryer, and I'm making hundreds.
And you're making money one lobster bisque at a time.
I know. One stank bisque. First of all, there should be chunks of lobster bisque. If not, it's just bisque. I do wonder why we live alone here and why we... Anyway, what I'm trying to say is this, folks. Try to get along with people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself in the other guy's shoes. Literally. Ask him to take his shoes off, and then you put them on and start wearing them around it. And it works best if a child does it with an adult man's shoes. I won't stop laughing. Vito sent in that bit the other day of the two kids who tried to pull the old Spanky and Our Gang.
Right.
Where they had one
big coat.
One big coat and was just like walking along. But they didn't have the big funny mustache that you need to do it properly. And a deep voice.
Yeah, you need a mustache and then just a voice to say, I'm an adult man.
That was for Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
I understand there's a white version of that coming out next year.
Is there?
Yeah. Called Superman. All the kids are talking about.
I finally feel represented.
there's two kinds of black movies. And Jen, this will interest you. So, you know what I mean? Because I know with anything black, Jen's like, yeah, I like that a lot. But there's just movies starring black people. But then there's those remakes of white things.
Right. Like you're saying, like the Wizard of Oz and
The Wiz. Become The Wiz. And they even did it with like Honeymooners. They did a black Honeymooners.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
Uncle Buck.
Did they do a black Uncle Buck?
Mike Epps was Uncle Buck.
And did Ice Cube do a black vacation movie, or what was that?
Cedric the Entertainer did Johnson Family Vacation.
And it was just the same bit?
Yeah, it was a reunion. They were going to a family reunion, though.
Jen, sounds funny, though.
Jen, what do you prefer? Blaxploitation, 1970s Blaxploitation, which is black people kicking a shit out of some cops.
Jive talking while they do it.
Those movies, like some people look back on them like they were cheesy, but
they're fun.
I mean, they were very, very fun, and they got a lot of people jobs and made a lot of people go, you know, they got a point. Because right away, white kids would just start rooting for the black guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all you got to do is make somebody the hero of the movie.
Right.
No one's going to yell, I'm not the same race as that person. Or do you like when they take a white movie, which we normally just call movies, and then make the black version of that?
I mean, I think I'll go to the 70s style.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Across 110th Street.
Yeah.
Okay. Across 110th Street. Chris, find a list of blaxploitation movies from the 70s. I don't know why that and kung fu movies used to do so well.
Right.
You know how people used to say Bruce Lee was a big star? I'm going to tell you this. Bruce Lee was a big star with black people.
Really?
Yeah. And then white kids caught on after the fact. But it was black people that really went to Bruce Lee movies.
Now, the funny thing is, both blaxploitation and kung fu movies, huge inspiration for Tarantino. And
100%.
With both of those things.
And that's why people don't get, like, Tarantino acts like he's black because, you know, his mom dated black guys and stuff like that. So he loved that culture, and this was the movie culture of it. All right, give us some of it, see if we remember.
All right, Shaft in Africa.
Well, just Shaft was what you would say first. What, you just gone from the top? Think a little bit.
Superfly.
Yeah, these are all great.
Shaft.
Foxy Brown.
Yes.
So good.
Sweet Sweetback, Sweet Revenge.
That's really good.
Blackula.
Blackula is a little silly.
Silliness, yeah.
The Mac.
The Mac is fucking fun. The Mac got brought up in True Romance, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say that's familiar to me, but I don't think I've seen it.
Black Caesar.
Like
that was well, that was like based on when they would like Black Mafia is what that was.
Right.
Cleopatra Jones.
Well, yeah, he was a cool cat that, you know, was out there dealing with people.
Trouble Man.
That I don't remember.
Dolomite.
Dolomite is the best of all time.
It's so
fantastic. Ganja and Hess.
Don't remember that.
Cotton Comes to Harlem.
That's a great movie.
I've never seen it.
That was a great movie.
Look, the poster is excellent. I really want to. That's so great. But I definitely don't know that one.
What was it?
Cotton Goes to Harlem, but just the poster is like
yeah,
amazing.
Look how great that is.
It's fantastic.
You would just want to own that poster.
Yeah.
First of all, it looks like a P-Funk album or something.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing, Chris? You get into the list or what?
I don't know if I could say this. The Spook Who Sat by the Door.
Don't know that one at all.
Uptown Saturday Night.
That had Richard Pryor in it.
And Sidney Poitier. Cooley High.
Cooley High was great.
3 the Hard Way.
Don't know that one.
Penitentiary.
Don't know that one. I saw that you jumped over the legend.
Yeah.
You're such a...
I know.
You're a child. You're a child, Chris Stanley. Across 110th Street. All right, it's the Bennington Show. Tuesday, coming up a little later on, is Jim Florentine is going to be here with his son and kind of co-star
nice
Luke. And we're going to give away a signed book. Everybody is awful except you. That's Jim Florentine's book. And it's, as always, hilarious.
It's very, very funny.
Because Jim has lived a crazy life. He has lived the craziest life of somebody who doesn't do drugs. And I don't even think if he is a drinker, he's not a big drinker. But he's in the... Look, that's his old crew.
Missed it.
Tito, and what's the other guy's name?
Ryan Sampson of the Morning Mash Show.
Oh, your besties.
I was in this conversation today. I'm going to break away from what I said about Jim Florentine. All right, Jenny Hutt's kid wrote something about not fitting in. And the New York Daily News put it in the paper. So, first of all, this kid, is in Yale. When are you going to finally be... When are these young people going to be satisfied with their accomplishments? You know what I mean? And two, he's worried about not fitting in, not finding the right crew to run with. And I'll just point this out. The fucking loner is the cool guy. Get that through your fucking head.
And also, the crew is not a forever thing. That feels like probably great in the moment because you never have to wonder who's ready to hang out because you have the same group that you would. Yeah. But it gets old, and usually halfway through college, you're just like, I want to start hanging out with other people, and they're like, "What are you doing tonight?"
Change, man.
They're well, come on,
fucking change. But let me just point out to another loner, Chris Stanley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chris had his girlfriend for 100 years.
Long time.
Then she dumps him, and he just rolls over. He hangs with the nerd crew for a while, right? Zito and Zito's friends. So much so that they put him in the wedding. And then as soon as he gets a girlfriend, he's like, "Fuck these guys! I got a girl." That's confidence. You know what I mean? You don't be willing to say, "I'll sit with the nerds and not feel like a nerd." You know what I mean? That's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's cool guy. I agree.
Here's what I say for cool guy. Cool guy can take fucking Stalker Patty to the fucking prom. He's not a reflection of who he is. Everyone thinks that cool means popular. James Dean? You see James Dean going like this? I hope I fit in with it. I hope I can find my own group of friends. No. That's why fucking chicks dug him.
When we were in school, me and my friends were always talking about the concept of that type of person. The person who he's friends with everybody in every group, moves in and out.
Right.
Everyone's psyched to see him, but he was always just doing something cooler and he's leaving early to go do something cooler. So that's where the crew is. They're just doing the thing you always do.
Right.
The group. And then we used to call this type of person a Fullers. I don't know why. It's Fullers. What's up, Fullers? I don't know. We gave him a made up last name.
Fullers.
What's up, Fullers?
But see, here's the thing.
Fullers. You're at the party. What? You're leaving Fullers? Where are you going? He's like, gotta go, man.
But this is the thing about Fullers. You can move like that when you're a party of one. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can jump on the back of the trolley. It's hard to put 11 people running for the trolley at the same time.
Exactly.
All right?
Fullers does not have a best friend.
But here's the deal about Fullers. Since he fucking thinks he's cool, other people just assume that.
Totally.
For some people, it drives me nuts about kids. They think cool is 12 feet away, no matter where they are. I'm at that table, but that table's cool. Why isn't your fucking table cool?
Right.
You know?
And being around all the time. If you have that FOMO thing, then you're not a Fullers. If you're worried that you're not at every party, sometimes you gotta be
every party.
Yeah, wherever you are, that's the place to be.
Or you're just going like this. We're fucking chilling tonight. Fuller style.
Come to the Fullers abode.
Listen, man, this is fun chilling, but I gotta get out of here. All right?
Fullers, come on. And then, of course, girls...
I'm meeting some Pakistani kids. We're doing some shit later.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then girls always love that guy.
Right.
Because, they're never around too much, and all the guys just kind of, wish he was hanging around. And, yeah. The ladies love that guy.
Well, that could be Jenny Hutt's kid. Could be Fullers.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to Jenny. I don't know whether we're getting a hold of her now. But I want to fucking take this kid on what I like to call Coke Blast Weekend. Who's holding? Fuller's. That's who's fucking holding.
Fuller's is always holding.
How'd that kid get to fucking write his thing in the new fucking Daily News, though?
I don't know. Someone's pulling some strings.
I don't know like you like that. Maybe they just enjoyed it. Maybe the news was saying this is the bet we were looking for. He's a fucking Yaley. Why wouldn't you feel good about yourself?
I know. You've already accomplished so much.
I know they call themselves Yaleys.
Yes, Chris.
I don't know a lot about
what school did you graduate from?
Hunter College.
Don't you guys used to call yourself hunters?
Come on, hunters. Let's go to class. Let's hunt for some knowledge.
All right. Stop.
Hunters unite.
You're not even cool enough for Zito and that fucking crew. You don't even... Those guys, they invite you into a wedding. Now they walk by here without even giving you a wave.
That's weird, right?
You're weird.
Yeah, but you ditched them. That's the thing. You didn't have enough pop in. You know what I mean? You weren't Fullers enough.
No.
You gotta show up now and again. You can't just never show up.
No, he's a fucking a one girl guy. When he's got a girl, that becomes his fucking color my world. He doesn't give a shit about another thing.
Yeah, they shouldn't have put me in that wedding. I had nothing.
We told you that when you were fucking
yeah. We tried to convince him what
we know it was a temp. But they all,
we get to enjoy that beach.
But now those dudes don't even wave to you?
No, I guess not. I didn't even know. I didn't see him at all. I just saw the back of Ryan Sampson's head.
Well, what about Zito? You're not besties anymore?
Not really, no. I'll say hello to him if I pass him in the hall.
Do you wave to him down the hall like fucking...
I'm too nervous.
I did this to Chris today. So yesterday, we didn't have on the side of the building. No, I'm not even going to tell the story. It's way too visual. I just sat 100 yards away from Chris and stared at him like I thought we were meeting at the place we did yesterday. And then I just see him see me from down there. And I saw him kick his head back. And I found it to be the funniest thing in the world. And I'm like, fuck, I should have taped that. But I bet it wouldn't even have been as funny to anybody else. But just the fact, and then he actually did wave to me like a fucking idiot. And then he jumped up like he was going to rush over.
And then I was just arriving. Yeah. And I was like, dude, where are you going? He's like, to get Ron? I was like,
Fullers, you fuck.
God.
That was a Fuller's move.
I don't know.
So you can win signed Jim Florentine book when he gets here. I'm sure he'll sign it. I think we can get that out of him. Everybody is awful except for you. And the foreword by Jim Norton.
Which is very funny.
It's very funny, but I would not want... Like, I was reading this in a public place, and then I thought, better shut this book.
I had the same experience as a woman was looking over my shoulder as I was reading it. And I was like, oh, this is maybe a bad look for a young lady like myself.
Here's Tony. Tony in Iowa. What's up, Tony?
Hey, I'd like to ask Gail if Butters from South Park could be considered a Fuller.
Butters.
I don't think anyone thought Butters was the cool kid.
Yeah, Butters was kind of the weird kid. But the weird kid that you kept around.
Yeah.
All right, let's just think of this. Can we think of real life Fullers? Because I have one.
Okay.
David Tell is a real life
that's
Fullers.
Perfect.
David Tell came into the stand, dumped a bunch of candy on the table, said, "That's for the crew here." And I mean, at one point, there was a peanut butter cup that was the size of a fucking apple pie. It was one of the things. I don't know what adult's going to bite into this, Chris. But David Tell.
Yes, 100%. I have another comic, and this is my second time bringing him up today. But Judah Friedlander, I think, is a Fuller's because he doesn't have the crew. Like, he kind of like pops in. Everyone's psyched to see him. Then it's like, where does he go? What does he do?
Yeah.
But everyone wants to be like Judah's friend.
I think he's still staying in hotels instead of a home.
Cool. Fuller's is
Chris,
so cool.
Give us a Fuller's.
I'd say a Steve Earle is a Fuller's.
At least here he is. That's right. Steve Earls is a fucking Fuller's. I know everyone thinks it's cool when Steve Earls is in the building.
Yeah. But a mystery man.
Yeah.
That you're like
all the time.
But if you found yourself in a conversation with him, you'd feel pretty cool about yourself. You're like, I was just talking to Steve.
Now, Vito looks like he wants to jump in, but I know he's going to miss the concept. You know what I mean? Like, Vito never understands the concept.
What wrestler is he going to name?
Thank you.
Right, Ron?
Thank you. Vito, what do you have?
I don't know. I think Disco Dan's a pretty cool guy that everybody's excited about when he walks in.
Oh, okay.
You're a bit killer. You're a bit killer.
Not true.
Anyway, we got into this because we want to help Jenny Hutt's kid who is in Yale. Seems like that would be enough. Once more, Daily News. Jenny Hutt.
Hi, how are you?
Well, we're trying to help your kid.
Thank you.
Here's the deal, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to realize you're cool before anyone else is going to think that you're cool, right?
That's right.
I'm worried that the kid's a little needy, even though he got into Yale.
He actually, the reason he wrote this is because he felt like it might help other kids who had felt like he does.
Why would I want to feel like a suicidal kid? What I want to do is this. Huh? The warning signs are there, Donaldin. I'm trying to help you.
Oh, my God, 1,000 times stronger. But no, he's great.
Now, look, I'm trying to tell you this. He's trying to be friends with these other Yale nerds. The fucking truth is, the cool kid is the lone wolf. The Fonzie, the James Dean, the Fullers of any community.
You know what I'm going to tell him? He knows how I feel about you and that I think you are the smartest and the most gifted and a lone wolf. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell him that you said that.
Look, there's a song from Los Lobos. I believe it's a cover song called Will the Wolf Survive? Play that for him. Send that to him. But tell him to stop acting like he needs a million friends.
Yeah, and like, he shouldn't have to convince himself why it's good not to want to. That's great that he doesn't want to be in a fret. That's great.
Yeah, not at all. He's so not interested.
But you know what he should do? If they ask him, Skull and Bones.
Okay. Oh, the secret club, right? The secret.
Not even allowed to say
society.
Do you think that he spent too much time with you when he was younger?
No.
Okay, because
I think he spent adequate time.
Okay, but you don't want to mama's boy him. You know what I mean?
No, he's good. He's all right. He went to college. Not like he's home. He wanted to go.
First of all, I'm very impressed that he got into Yale.
Thank you.
That's a really amazing thing, which should already make him feel superior to everybody.
Yeah.
He's a good boy. He's a really nice person. He works very hard. Clearly I don't take credit for his
that's another thing.
I couldn't do that.
Tell him to slow down on the working hard. You know what I mean? You can't look cool if you're working hard.
It's really, you could. I'll tell him you said that too.
Yeah.
He's not going to listen.
Look, this is what my secret, my study secret always was.
What was it?
Sit next to a smart girl. And I'd be like this, smart girl, what's up?
That sounds like a father's move.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, I'd be like, just fill in some of this, but don't get it all right. Because I don't want anybody calling me up going, where'd the A come from?
You are very wise.
So seriously, don't have him work too much harder.
Okay.
Does he got somebody in his life? He got a special someone?
He does not.
Okay.
But he's good. You don't have to worry. He's okay. He's happy. He's having a good time. He's really, the article, I think, was incredibly well responded to, and he has found that he helped a lot of students who felt similarly, and he's happy. He's great.
Right. Okay, good. But I mean, if it's a cry for help, you know what I mean? How did he get in the Daily News? Because he's a Yalie?
No, it's the Yale Daily News. It's the Yale Daily News.
Oh, I thought it was the New York Daily News.
Oh. Yale Daily News.
I feel better about that.
Yeah. It's the Yale Daily News, and he wrote it. He is a writer. He's an on-staff Yale writer.
He's a man of letters.
Yeah, he does a lot of extracurricular stuff, and so that was one of the. So he wanted to write that op-ed. And he did run it by me and my husband before. He said he was going to do it, and we said, great, go for it.
Right.
And then he just did it. So.
Well, You know, the next one, I think he should have a little more fun with it, though. You know what I mean?
I think so, too. I agree.
My thing would be 50 days, 50 drugs. Every day you're doing a different drug.
That's a good piece.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Would he have to do that research?
Yeah. You got to do it. You're a hunter. You're immersive journalism. You're like Hunter Thompson. But here's my thing for that. And I only know this because I did it as like a fun thing. I didn't even write any of it down. Do not start with heroin because all the other drugs will pale next to that.
Thank you. I'm going to tell him that. He has to work up to it.
Congratulations. And what school does the other one, does your girl go to?
She's waiting to hear from the schools now, but her dream is to go to the University of Michigan School of Music.
All right. Set that a little, Dubai's, they're running a great fucking program. What's the name of it?
DeVry.
Thank you. Because I called it Dubai and I knew that could not be right.
There's also ITT Tech.
Great. I love that.
All right, sweet. Congratulations. Take care of that kid, though, all right?
That's really nice. I will. I do.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye.
I worry about that boy. You know?
Yeah, me too. Does he have any friends?
No, not a one. Well, I mean, it's a Friday night. He was bragging about, he played a pretty fun card game that they had introduced him to. But he worried, like, do I belong here? According to admissions, yeah, man.
What's this game? War?
Stop it, Chris.
What?
Come on, Chris. That's fucked up.
You say something like that to a young person still working out everything, and you push him over the edge, throw himself in front of him. You know why he probably can't find any fucking friends? Yale's filled with Asian kids now.
That makes sense.
You might as well spend a fucking year abroad.
I mean, he's not going to fit in with their groups.
Here's what, give him a song called My Woman from Tokyo, and you'll fucking find out that the chicks will be flocking around. Is this still a big hit with the kids? It should be.
I think so.
Yeah, it should be. That doesn't make any sense for Huddy. But if I was going to tell him the truth, if you're in Yale and you want to make friends with people, you're not going to do Deep Purple's My Woman from Tokyo. You're going to do Deep Purple's Highway Star. Live version. Machine Head, that fucking shit, but go to live. See, this is the thing when you're at Yale. You got to fucking bring in a lot of 1973 rock for people, you know? Because no one wants to do the new. This is the 90s. It's the time of grunge right now. You don't know how to find Highway Star in your life. Rick Scott, the man who wears a fucking Navy hat every time a hurricane hits Florida. Yeah. He drives me nuts with that.
It's not helping.
You look like you're going to leave here in a ship. Wait, they haven't even left yet?
No.
What's their fucking deal? Why can't you get up and go? It's like a fucking 9-hour drive from South Florida to Tallahassee. Everyone acts like, oh, Florida's a fucking thin state. Yeah, but it's long as shit. Mm-hmm. It's like a fucking used condom hanging off down there. Where are they on top of fucking...
Yeah, this girl's on top of a car, and it looks like she's...
She ain't going all the way up that way, is she?
No, I hope not.
Safety first.
I mean, that's one way to roll up to Huddy's, but...
Yeah.
It's not safe.
I'm going to be up there this weekend. Let's see these motherfuckers that don't let them in their fucking parties. I'll stomp some shit. I'll go there wearing my Wharton School of Music of Business, University of Pennsylvania. Quakers are here. I understand you're not letting Huddy play. Chris, if you would have had your chance to go to any of the schools, the Ivy League schools, which would you have picked?
I would have had to go old school Harvard, but
there's no way you'd get in anything above Brown.
I did apply to MIT though in school, and looking back at it, what kind of fucking idiot was I?
Yeah, apparently, according to them, a real one. MIT. See you real soon. KEY. So, did you even hear back from them? Did they even?
I got a rejection letter. Yeah,
that's sorry. More than you should have kept that with you and shown it off around town.
Look who doesn't want me, everyone. MIT. Is NYU Ivy League?
No, not really. I don't think
no.
I thought it was.
No. Columbia is, which would be my pick.
Have you been up to Columbia?
Mm-hmm, I've been up there.
Pretty cool.
It's really pretty.
Cool vibe. Look, Vito looks like he wants me to fucking ask him, but he's just going to derail it like he did the last thing.
We all know you're a Dartmouth.
At best. I see more of one of those fucking Cornell idiots that's running around trying to with a fucking bus pass. And you were fucking school that you paid $100,000. I never even heard of before or since. What's the name of it?
School of Visual Arts. I really hate the name.
Is that an online school?
Embarrassing to say to people.
It sounds like something for blind kids.
It sounds like that, or it sounds like a DeVry or like an ITT, like one of those. But apparently it has a really good graphic design program. I don't ever hear anybody brag about the department I was in.
What department you're in? Film studies?
Film.
Well, it got you a gig as a fucking reviewer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True.
You know who brought up your review to me?
Who?
Paul Feig.
Really?
Yes.
What did he say?
Well, he said that he hadn't seen anything about it in the iBang yet. He didn't know whether it was getting reviewed or not. And he goes, I've been enjoying the last couple of reviews that I read there.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I should review the Joel McHale show now that he's a part of.
Looked like you missed the fucking bus, my friend.
I know. I don't want to disappoint Mr. Feig. But we have a new review up there.
Mr. Feig is his father. He's Paul. What's the new zoo review? Is that what you're doing?
The new review is the Adult Swim did release 2 short specials over the weekend. Eric Andre went to Paris, and Jenna Friedman, Soft Focus.
Very nice.
Would you give both of them?
I did
2
not.
thumbs up?
No, I was pretty disappointed by Eric Andre's.
Really?
Oh my God, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I thought you liked Eric
Yeah,
Andre.
you're such an Eric Andre fan.
I love Eric Andre, but it wasn't a special. He just went to Paris and did the same thing he usually does, but set in Paris.
My favorite thing that he's ever done was Eric Andre the Giant. And the thing I liked about that was he was able to step over the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he didn't have to jump.
No one
he
else
just
could
stepped
do that.
over it. No one else in the history of the world's been able to do that.
And Jenna Friedman, Soft Focus, I enjoyed. But I was a little harsh on it. I think if she gets another chance, I want to see her do more.
Tough but fair.
Everyone's got to do more.
Soft Focus was good, though. Check it out, guys. Adult Swim.
Did you just yell, don't swim?
Adult Swim.
Okay. Check it out, guys. What guys are you talking to? The 3 of us?
All you guys. I want you and the listener. I want the listener to go.
Listener.
I want the listener to read my review, become the reader, and then go watch the special.
So, watcher, listener, reader.
Yeah.
You want all 3? Sounds greedy.
No, all 3
You
are
want them
bust.
also to be a rower? Do. 2 buses. What do you think the governor's going to say to him?
I don't know. Probably.
Poor kids. I don't think they stand a chance.
I doubt he even sees them.
That would be unbelievable.
He's got to see them. You would look like a nut.
We'll probably lay on the floor when they're banging on the door and act like no one's there.
Now, did someone say that Trump had agreed to meet with them?
Yeah.
Because then I never heard any follow-up
Trump
on
said
that.
he wouldn't meet with them. But they had to take the bus up there.
Somebody get them plane tickets. They're bussing around constantly.
Ooh. It's the Bennington show on a Tuesday. I'm out tonight at Gotham. Chris doesn't want you to know about it, but it's true.
Why won't you tell?
I'll be at Gotham tonight, the Gotham Comedy Club.
GothamComedyClub.com for tickets. Ron will be performing on Comedy Juice at Gotham Comedy Club at 9:30 p.m. GothamComedyClub.com for tickets.
Did you say Comedy Jews?
Juice.
I think he also called you Ross at one point.
No.
Come see me, Ross, from Friends. It's me, Ross from Friends. Do, 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 do. Vito, your fucking shitty goddamn celebrity Big Brother is shit.
It's so bad, Vito.
I went on the Bennington SXM Instagram for my recap thing last night, and I told everybody they're losing me. They're really starting to lose me, especially after last night with Meta just fucking deciding to leave. And like, even if Meta wants to leave, I don't know how as Omarosa you just go, yeah, instead of putting up 2 people in their alliance, I'm going to dwindle the people that I could have on my side of the house more. It just doesn't, nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares.
No.
And I'm out. It's just it's too annoying.
And how are you a good person if you let Meta leave 6 days early?
Yeah.
You know?
It's so, and yeah, that's the worst part, is that everyone's congratulating themselves. Like, we did a really good thing. What about us, the viewer? Like, what about us?
What about Raven?
Yeah.
It's just nobody gives a shit. Production, I don't even think they give a shit. Really.
Well, here's the thing that I've got to be thinking is like, you got to look at the producer, you got to look at who cast this thing and go, how the fuck did you allow 2 people to get on this show who would just nominate, just campaign for themselves to be self-evicted? How do you F that up twice? And in past seasons when you would have one nut have to do a walk-off, they obviously told them, hey, you can't walk off because you won't get your money or whatever it is that they get for their weekly stipend or whatever. So now instead we've just got to sit there and waste an entire week. That's 2 weeks wasted on what, a 4-week show?
Look, we used to have a saying back in the 90s, when things were more real. We used to call it jump the shark. And that's what they have done right now. They've jumped the shark. Now, not only am I done with Celebrity Big Brother, I'm also canceling Big Brothers.
No!
Dude, I can't fucking be, I can't promote a shardy fucking thing like this.
For Big Brothers 20?
Yeah.
This is going to be such a big year.
2020. Look, Vito, you can go do it. You just can't be part of the Bennington show anymore.
This is a Loser Leaves Town podcast?
Up to you. You could either be the loser who stays here or the loser who leaves town. But Vito, make no mistake, you're a fucking loser.
I can't be a loser with both?
Look, we had a saying in the 90s. Yeah. Nerd. Okay? And if a kid was a nerd, and AKA geek,
okay,
the other kids would get around him, spit on him, kick him, and sometimes rape him. Because it would get carried away.
I say let's do that to Vito.
What? No.
I'll rape that bitch.
Yeah. Let's get carried away.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else we used to say back in the 90s, and I miss it. Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah, get that.
Yeah. Chris, you remember
the rumble
90s,
is your
right?
rape. So that's why.
Okay, didn't get that then.
The rumble is your shark. Rumbling out. Chris, what was your favorite thing about the 90s? Mine was oxygen.
I like sunlight. It was
interesting.
Warm,
A lot of people don't realize this about the sunlight. It's one of the main reasons the plants are growing. What was your favorite TV show back in the 90s? Mine was Citizen Kane. Anytime it came on TV, I'd be watching this end of it. And I always remember what they would always say.
Yeah.
Rosebud. And then I would always go like this. I'd go like this. Smoking some bud right now, dude.
Seems like a great show.
Fuck, it was so good. This kid, he had a sled, right?
Yeah.
And then he did some stuff and then died. But it was so good. His name was Rosebud. Because people would say, what's your name? And he would go, Rosebud. Rosebud. What was your favorite TV show in the 90s?
Step by Step.
Step by Step, really? It's weird.
Yeah. That was him and his brother making love step by step.
Over and over again.
Step by step. Day by day. They would sing that as they made
day
love.
Day by day, step by step. But this way, they said one of the, they didn't have the same parents. Why not Jews it? You know what I mean?
Right. Stepbrothers.
What about
naughty stepbrothers?
Get thong. Peter, were you even alive in the 90s?
Oh, well, I had 8 years in the 90s.
What'd you used to do? Sharp through most of the first
Sounds
4
like
years?
You're like baby sharks.
Yeah. Oh, adorable. Baby shard it.
So cute.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Well,
little
yeah, like a
Vito?
latchkey kid back then.
Yeah, it was. My mom would let me walk home from school by myself.
Oh.
How many blocks?
Like 3 blocks.
Sometimes you get hungry and just eat a whole bottle of aspirin.
Yeah, that. Maybe a loaf of bread.
You weren't, your mom wasn't scared about you walking back and forth to school by yourself?
Up until, I think, 5th grade was when we decided I could go home by myself. And plus, I lived like 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
And she told me she followed me home the first, week. Pretty sneaky.
She didn't know where she lived?
Creepy, Leslie.
Let's not bring up actual parents' name. We don't mention Amy at all.
You've never heard us say Amy's name, and you never will.
Ever.
Good.
I remember with Chris's mom, and I was pretty close with her. I would always, this was like our thing. I would go, "How are you, Amy?" And she would go, "Samey."
You guys didn't always say that.
You guys had like a cute little thing going between you two.
Yeah, it was sexual tension,
Oh,
I think is the
God.
best way to put it. Hey, Bill, what the fuck is it? What can I do for you? What's going on, Bill?
Wondering what your thoughts are on the new Twin Peaks compared to the old Twin Peaks. You're talking about 90s TV shows, and just want to get your thoughts on that.
I believe that I'm the only person who watched both new and old Twin Peaks. And I know that a lot of people really loved the season. I have debated it with people, but I felt like it was too weird for even a Twin Peaks fan. I just felt like I was missing being able to actually interact, like hear the characters interact. And there was a lot of really weird and pretty visuals, but that goes on for many weeks.
Too long.
Way too long. And I kind of just missed dealing with like the characters of Twin Peaks as Twin Peaks is a weird town, not just like this is a weird existential universe.
Yeah.
That was me personally.
Well, for me, I didn't see when it was on Twin Peaks. I didn't see it when it was on, but I'm going to catch it this summer when it's in Repeaks. And hopefully, Vito, hopefully I'll be able to, I feel like it's jumped the shark though this year.
It did.
I watch more TV now on my phone when I'm driving than anything
You
else.
should not do that.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't.
Well, it's weird because last night when I was driving, I hit like a trash can or a child or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Something. Let me ask this.
Yeah.
When you hit a trash can, does it scream and get blood all over the front of your car?
No.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Vito, and dump out of that, would you? Vito, do you watch the Twin Peaks things?
No, I never. I tried to watch one episode of the original one, and it just freaked me out.
Are you all caught up on the Oscars?
No,
Have you seen everything?
I'm watching Florida Project tonight or tomorrow night, and then I'm going to the theater this weekend. Took off work to catch up.
I take it that you're not going to Gotham then tonight, huh?
I mean, I'm going to go to Gotham after. I'm going to watch the
that a
Florida
fuck in the
Project
face?
after Gotham. I'm going to go to Gotham, then Florida Project.
Did you ever get back to the producers of Nick's show?
No, I was waiting to see what we wanted to decide.
I just told you that I can't do it tonight.
Got it.
You hear me plugging Gotham, right?
Yes.
I wrote a song about Nick DiPaolo's show.
Did you?
Nick DiPaolo from the left-hand side. Nick DiPaolo coming like down the side. He comes on 8. He does 2 hours. And it's 8 to 10. Here's the deal with that, though. That was a 90s song. All right. That's when we had MTV back then. What's your favorite 90s movie, Vito? Mine's Wizards of Oz.
Really?
Is that a 90s movie?
Well, it was around in the 90s. That's when I saw it.
True.
I like, out of the three, right? Who was your favorite of the people?
I've always been a Tin Man fan.
Oh. You know, Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have.
True.
Who was your favorite?
Scarecrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I thought it was scary. I liked him.
It wasn't supposed to be scary.
Yeah, he was actually really friendly. He was
but
her best friend.
But like the hay body, I thought was very creepy.
What are you, a crow?
I'm not a crow. I'm a human being, man.
I'd rather see you be a human doing anything. Vito, Cowardly Lion, I guess.
My boy, I love that guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
100%.
That guy's the man.
Mm. Mm. I always liked the Flying Monkey was my favorite out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
A specific one?
Yeah. His thing was he only wanted fangs. If I only wanted fangs, well, I would bite on a child and fly him to the sky and make him scream and cry. They can't sleep with the mother 'cause I'm coming for the other. If I only had some fangs.
A deleted scene?
Yeah. Deleted scenes, all right. We used to have those back in the 90s.
You did?
Yeah. Director's commentary, we'd call them. What are you getting fucking papers for, Chris?
Some live reads.
Just gotta get the papers.
Why'd you get a regular haircut, too? It's so fucking high and tight in the back. Turn around, let Gail say.
Is it too?
Yeah. Look at it. It's like a baby's fucking cut.
Why does he do his weird arms like that? I couldn't even focus.
Because he can't. He's got armpit fat. And he can't get him all the way down.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for explaining.
Vito's always talking about the fresh to me. What's fresh? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's what you say for new stuff, Vito? You call it fresh?
Yeah. The freshest products.
And today you said to me, what's the fresh? What did you mean by that?
I just want to know what's fresh out there.
I never know what the kids mean. Is that slang of some kind?
Yeah, it's slang. It's like what's new, what's cool, what's popping, what's fresh.
I guess fresh for me is Big Bang Theory.
This
What about
fresh.
for you, Chris?
Oh, Modern Family. That's pretty fresh.
Oh, so it's all just TV, right? Out of all the things on the planet that could be fresh, we went for 2 TV shows on that
I
one.
just thought we were talking.
What's fresh for you?
Cardi B is pretty fresh. I feel like she's fresh right now.
And isn't she pregnant?
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor. I believe Offset denied it.
Mark my words here. Career equal over for her.
Is that what happens when you get pregnant?
No one wants to see a pregnant, I'm going to guess, rapper. Is that what she is?
Yes.
Yes.
Name one that we've ever had in history. Eminem?
A pregnant rapper? No, I can't. Lil Kim was maybe pregnant sometime. I don't know.
Was Faith Hill count?
Well,
No.
sometimes fresh is just fresh food. Next time you go to the grocery store, pay attention to how long it takes. Actually, don't waste your time. I'm going to tell you right now, too long. It's 2018, fellas. The days of going to the grocery store, battling for a parking space, and searching high and low for some obscure ingredient are over.
It's time to say hello to HelloFresh, the meal kit delivery service that makes cooking healthy, delicious meals fun, easy, and convenient. Just go to HelloFresh.com, pick out the recipes you want, and they're delivered directly to your doorstep. They come every week in a special insulated box, along with easy to follow step-by-step instructions and full color pictures.
Each HelloFresh box includes fresh seasonal ingredients that are perfectly portioned. No wondering if you have the right amount and no waste. Just delicious meals that you can make in 30 minutes or less.
And for a limited time, you can get $30 off your first box when you go to HelloFresh.com/raw. Plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/raw for $30 off.
Bennington Show. You know what? I'm going to pull the curtain back right now and say that Chris tries to get me to take a break in 12 minutes from now. Now, was that just our first break that we took today?
No, that was our second.
Second break.
Well, I've never done a break as short as he's wanted. A break that would come down to 12 minutes away, as of right now. No one would have found that odd. Now, Vito, I don't know whether you've seen yet, and Chris, I believe you haven't, but I just had the strangest situation going into the brand new bathroom here at Sirius XM. I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like you're in a completely different, I don't know, it's like
Here's how I
bizarro
felt.
world.
I felt like it was the movie Back to School. And Rodney Dangerfield had redesigned everything. So when me and my two roommates went into our separate dorm rooms, we found out we had one big giant flat. That thing is so incredibly deep now.
Yeah,
I don't know where the deepness came.
Yeah.
How do you widen a room?
It does look really, the dimensions look totally different.
Vito, have you seen it?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on when I walked in there. Especially, it's like darker now.
Why didn't you warn me? It's like walking into it's like walking into the Blade Runner 2045. Now, here's the other thing that they did. This is the big thing. They now have a giant partition. There's no way you can look at someone's dick.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's because we have so many infamous people here. They're worried about dick pics showing up.
Protect the celebrity dicks for sure.
Yeah.
Now we've got a big like a really nicely done vanity with really good lighting. Do you have that?
We do not.
Yeah. Because a lot of times they don't really have a separate bathroom in the green room. So a lot of times the women who are coming in
all the time
do their full makeup. They have like a makeup artist in the bathroom doing it. So now they have like proper lighting.
Well, I'm wondering why they don't have it for men, because a lot of men put on makeup here too. And whenever I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for you. Why wiping my rear now before I drink a beer now? I say a little prayer for you forever and ever. I'm trying to get Chris to get on top of this next thing we're doing. I want to do it on the Brill Building and its writers. And I am getting the hand from him.
I know. What's going on?
What happened to you being big show guy?
Well, it's a big show.
You were the big show.
We have all the elements in place. Just have to do some sequencing.
What elements are you talking about, Adams?
Some clips from past interviews on the Brill Building. There's a lot of great stuff.
Pineapple.
Some clips on the past interviews. What past interviews?
Oh, like Neil Sedaka, Connie Francis, Neil Diamond, Benny King.
That sounds horrible. Sounds like a goddamn waste of time.
No, that's great stuff.
But how come we can't see or hear any of this stuff?
I'll resend the links.
Just do it here.
I'd rather do it here. All at the same time. Play every fucking thing at the same time. What's with you and pineapple?
It's good for you. And delicious.
Since when?
I think it's good for you.
Really? Then name one Puerto Rican president. Remember when you were a kid, you liked, if you heard it, anything, like carrots made you see better.
Yeah.
Spinach made you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And then you used to say peanuts made you choke more and break out. Eat your peanuts, it'll make your fingers fatter and make it harder to breathe. It really swells up the throat. That's what you want at your age. Stop all the air from rushing down your gullet. Jim Florentine is going to be here in a bit. Should we first respond to it? Is that the way to go?
Yeah, at Mr. Jim Florentine. That's his Twitter account, at Mr. Jim Florentine.
We're going to pick out one of those wonderful things about Jim and Luke. I imagine Luke, he's a youngster, so he doesn't have a social media account.
No. Yeah, I assume he does not yet have a social media presence.
Now, the Jim is so hard on Facebook and Facebook posters.
I know.
I mean, that's some of my favorite parts of
Me too.
the book is him just going through specific posts and why what that person said is idiotic.
And he doesn't know these people. He just takes their posts.
Right, yeah.
Fucking hilarious. All right, you know Meredith, right? The
Yes.
PR person? Tiny now.
Really?
Looks fantastic. Looks quacktastic. I'm going to be totally in her.
That's quacktastic.
That's the duck that says that. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. This Russian thing is getting big, huh? Looks like somebody's been rushing the judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was Jenny Hutt, or Huddy, as her own child goes. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Here's some people walking by. Why don't we give them a big wave?
Okay.
But,
Should we wait till they're all there?
yeah. This guy feels amazingly happy about showing us off.
I know.
I like when there's tours in here.
Yeah, like, because you ever, like, when they're pointing specifically at us and you're like, but I don't know this guy. Like, what's he saying? Like, does he know specifically about us? Because sometimes he'll be like, directly pointing.
Yeah.
And then this guy's in here and there's her.
Now, I saw Zito give him one of these tours years ago.
Uh-huh.
And as he's getting down to that area where the desks are and all, he goes like this. And follow me this way. This is where some of your favorite DJs become desk jockeys.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. He actually said disc jockeys become desk jockeys.
I would hope that he walked backwards the way people do on college tours.
Did.
Yeah.
I would assume that he would be a profesh like that and do the backward walk.
On a college tour, they should be like, this is where a girl got raped last semester.
So just watch out for this area if you decide to come here.
This part of the quad gets pretty dark at night, and that's when the raping starts. All right, it is the Bennington show. Is it Friday that we're doing the next Unmasked?
Yes.
That's Nikki Glazer Unmasked, 2 p.m. this Friday. Her show premieres on Comedy Central Radio, 10 a.m. on Monday.
So funny, Nikki Glazer. Such a really funny person. Now, Jen asked me about fear when you were a kid. Did you have a specific kid fear?
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought of that. Because I don't know, do you ever really get over fears? Like if you have a major traumatic fear?
Well, there's like certain kid fears of mine that I probably don't share like to this day as an adult. Like, for example, as a kid, I was really sure that there could be a shark in a pool somehow. Like, I was pretty sure that that was possible.
Had you already seen Jaws?
Yes, I had seen Jaws. And
Bad
so
mistake by your parents.
I think that I just kind of thought, like, Jaws could just show up
When
anywhere.
Jaws came out, people were afraid of their bathtubs.
Yeah, it did kind of.
Children were afraid of bathtubs.
And I blame the fact that, and this was the trigger for me, was not just like being in the water or thinking about being in the water, but that thing that happened when you go underwater and the way talking and laughing sounds when you're underwater would be kind of a trigger for me. And I would like panic and think, is this possible that Jaws could be in this pool right
Jen, what was your...
She is in the lobby right now.
Why so early?
She just wanted to go be ready.
What do you mean be ready?
She
It's
likes,
Florentine.
she likes to greet people.
Florentine knows how to even find himself here.
No, she just likes to say hi when they get
Hey,
here.
what music do you have for Florentine?
I was going to play some Sabbath.
But what?
Supernaut.
Mm-hmm. Why, is that his favorite?
I'm not sure, but it was just a Sabbath song that I thought he
Why
might
don't you just try putting in Jim Florentine's favorite song? Because they did so many lists on that show. Remember they would do? I think they even got to take things off other people's lists. I never would have brought this up if I knew that Jen wasn't here. Beat, I know what you're afraid of, Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. You still are a little
Well, I mean,
and Barack Obama were your two biggest fears. Did you find one?
I found his favorite album, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman.
Okay. So why are you going to Sabbath then? If he's fucking he's just straight Ozzy. What was your big fear?
Well, one fear was I was afraid of having a brother or sister. I was terrified of
sharing.
I just knew my parents couldn't fucking handle that, and I would have nightmares about I had a terrible nightmare. Mom was pregnant.
That is so sad.
Now, did you think that they would be bad to the kid, or you would get less?
I feel like I would just get less. I think as a kid, but also I just knew it's already tough in this fucking place. This is not going to make it any better.
How would a little kid know that something's tough?
They were very vocal about the money problems in the Stanley household.
But still, when you think about it, that's the saddest thing I've ever. Because I was so excited to get a brother. I was so excited.
But you were a good person when you were little.
And I would have been if I hadn't had a little brother at that age. I would have been thinking when am I going to get a sibling? I would have been thinking that all the time.
You used to bring it up.
Yeah.
I was very excited when my sister came home because more free time for me.
New babies.
I knew right away. I go, this is going to free me up from a lot of fucking, judgment. But I think if I'm pretty sure I had separation anxiety when I was a kid. Did not like to be separated from the mom.
Yeah. Oh God, that's kind of your first fear. I think that and falling is your first fear as a baby. So when babies are laying there and they do that little arm jut thing when they're sleeping.
Look, they're here.
Oh, good.
Oh, you got to do the plug.
Jim Florentine. His new book, Everybody is Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. And Jim's doing a reading and book signing tonight at the Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. And for all of his other book signings, go to jimflorentine.com. Jim Florentine is in studio. Jim's book, Everybody's Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. And Jim's doing a reading and book signing tonight at the Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. jimflorentine.com for all of Jim's upcoming book signings.
But, Chris, let's get into the important part here. Here's a guy that I was working with not too long ago in Connecticut who just tore the place up. Luke Florentine is here.
Yeah! Ow!
You guys have been doing a lot of sets together, right?
Yeah.
You and Jim? Jim, how did this all come about that you guys started doing sets together?
He wanted to do it. I was driving to Stress Factory about a year and a half ago when I was going on. He goes, I want to go on stage and tell some jokes. Can I go up? I said, okay. And then he got up there and he panicked. He didn't have anything. We had a big blowout. And then a couple weeks later, he redeemed himself. He went on stage and said, tell a joke about you with the dog, because he pooped on the dog's pad. And it got a big laugh. And once he got that big laugh,
he started loving it.
He started loving it. Then he got away from it for a little while. But when he did your Thanksgiving show, and he did that street jokes, and when he got that applause, when he walked on stage and the joke that he said, and when he was standing up there, that's when he was in.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot cooler than the Stress Factory. Let's be honest about it. But then Connecticut, that was a really big crowd. And he popped.
I heard he crushed.
Yeah, he crushed it.
500 people.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, you were doing okay. But once Luke came, we went from a 3 to a 10 overnight. That's the way he and I were talking about it, from a 3 to a 10.
It's at the point where I got to put him on at the end because I can't follow him. I put him on early just in case he loses interest or he gets tired during my set. And but now I have to. He has to close out the show. He's my closer.
I'm in the wings with him, and he's sitting up, and I'm like, "We're watching you." Florentine's killed as always. And then Luke says to me, I got about 5 or 6 more of his jokes, and I go, he knew where he was going to go on.
Nice.
In your set.
Give me your cue.
He did.
Yeah.
I saved, I told him, I took him to Milwaukee. It was our first road gig. I was doing a casino. I go, this is our first road gig. Took a plane, stayed in a hotel. I said, and he's like, what are we going to do today? I go, it's all about the show. I go, we're not here on vacation. We're not going sightseeing.
Yeah.
It's all about the show tonight. I go, you got to come up with a set list. What are you going to do tonight? So he's working on a set list. I took pictures of it. He had a set leather jacket, baseball joke, street joke. So he's writing out a set list.
Right.
So I got that. I said, that's what you got to do. You got to prepare.
But you actually said he was even improv in some lines in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always, because, when you get that roar from the crowd, it's just like a comic. You come up with great stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he ad-libbed one line about it, like he goes, I don't understand people that he wears a leather jacket and sweatpants on stage. That's his outfit. He goes, I don't know, it just pisses me off when people wear a leather jacket and sweatpants. He goes, I'm wearing it because, my jeans are still dirty. That's the only reason I'm doing it. But then he ad-libbed a line. He goes, because my dad's too lazy to do my laundry. I'm like, that's the joke right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was his ad-lib.
Yeah, I told I think it was last night. Yeah, it was last night. I told the joke to my aunt, and he was the leather jacket one. And I got to half of it where I said, I don't like when people wear sweatpants and a leather jacket. And then she said, but I was just gonna say that you're wearing it.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm getting to the punchline. Wait.
Let me get there.
He's got a new joke if he could try it.
I love it.
Okay, so Dice was playing at the Stress Factory on Sunday night.
Yeah.
We went down there, and he had a new joke in front of 375 people, sold out. I said, it's risky, but I think it's going to work. I think it's going to kill. You shouldn't do, because I told him to take one of his jokes out the last set. I go, you're doing a big show here. You can't experiment.
Right.
It's in front of a sold house. You got to do your best stuff. But he tried this one on Sunday, and it killed.
Can I do it?
Yeah.
So my dad hasn't had a girlfriend in 3 years, and I ask him every day, get a girlfriend. He's like, I don't know, maybe. I think my dad's gay.
And that killed, huh?
Murdered, yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I think you have to close with that one because I'm telling him take the street joke out because that's that's an old joke. But yeah, killed.
Look, you watch Dice work? Did you watch the Dice Man on stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? To be doing the same gig as him, that's pretty fantastic.
But he loves him. He's a big fan of Dice.
Now, do you have a long-term dream? Is there something you want to do with comedy, or you just take it as it's coming along?
I'll just take it when it's coming along.
Yeah.
He's not sure if he wants to be in a band or do stand-up. He's doing both.
Well, you are doing a little bit of both, even with your stand-up. Your stand-up has kind of a rock and roll metal edge to it. When you would do that bit where you have your back to the crowd and you got your hands up and the whole crowd's going crazy behind you, that's very rock and roll.
Yeah, that's a rock star move.
Yeah. So, Jim, what's it like when you now finishing a show after all these years with applause? That's got to be unbelievable.
It is. It's like I'm not even bringing up the headliner. That's when I'll get applause. Ladies and gentlemen, a legend. The legend, Andrew Dice Clay. I'm like, wow, that's what applause feels like.
Let me tell you about Jim Florentine, one of the best storytellers in the world. And this book is so damn funny. Literally from the ridiculous forward, the Norton forward, all the way through to the end. Because you've got all these great stories, but then Gail and I were talking about the Facebook stuff.
That stuff is
that
so
you do.
killer.
You're just beating up
so funny.
people's Facebook posts.
Yeah, I've been doing it for forever on my podcast, so I just transcribed it, basically put it in a book. There's so much material there, like I'll never run out. So to me, it's perfect.
Now, who are these people that are posting this? Is this people you know, or you just go around Facebook?
No, I did that in the beginning, and I go, I can't do this. It's torture to read people's posts. So when I do my podcast, I say, if you see any bad Facebook posts out there you think I would hate, or bad Yelp review, Yelp people complaining on Yelp, whatever it is, I go send them to this email address. So they send them in. They do all the work for me.
The Yelp people are getting worse and worse, too. I mean, they've become a living nightmare.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's basically like you're complaining about someone had a bad day at work. Whether it was the cook, whether it was the waitress, and you're basically badmouth. I'm like, if you worked in an office environment and you had a bad day at work, imagine if everyone wrote bad stuff about you.
Right.
So your next employer would see that, go, oh, this guy doesn't seem like he's so good.
Yeah.
Look at all this bad stuff that one bad day he had. That's exactly what they're doing.
I know. I actually use Yelp for the opposite effect. Like, I go and check out either a restaurant or a business. I read the 1-star reviews. I laugh at them and just think, well, that person's definitely insane.
Right.
So this place is probably fine. I usually use it for the exact opposite.
I mean, a 1-star would have to be a horror show. You know what I mean? There would have to be a bloody finger in my food before I limit it to 1 star.
It's a sense of entitlement. If everything didn't go exactly their way, they're going to write about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's the competition writing the 1 star.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
That happens a lot with the hotels. You know, like you look and stay in a hotel in Los Angeles. Every hotel, if you read the Yelp reviews, got bed bugs. There's never been bed bugs is an urban myth. There was bed bugs once in New York City, like 9 years ago, in one hotel in one room.
Right.
And every hotel has bed bugs. I heard they have bed bugs. They don't.
They don't.
No.
Just never believe
There's
that.
not
right
an
there.
issue of bed bugs.
Jim Florentine and Luke Florentine are in studio. Jim's book, Everybody is Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. Jim's doing a reading and book signing tonight at The Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. And it'll be at Vintage Vinyl in Fords, New Jersey tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and Book Soup on February 25th at 4 p.m. in Los Angeles, California. Go to jimflorentine.com for all of Jim's upcoming book signings. And on Twitter, at Mr. Jim Florentine.
Now, how are you doing this tonight, The Stand? You're reading just excerpts, answering questions? What are you doing?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I'll probably just wing it. You know, first I'll do some signings, whoever comes in for it, and then we're going to do it downstairs in the comedy club part. And then I'll go on stage, I'll read maybe a chapter or two from the book, different excerpts, and, you know, to do a Q&A, a little Q&A. And then he might go up, Luke might go up and tell some jokes.
Nice.
And that'll be it.
Yeah.
You know, just go read it when you get home. You know what I mean?
You don't need to read it now.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything. There's a good ending.
Some of the, and I've been through this with you before, of some of your stories, I said, most people wouldn't have this crazy as stories unless they, let's say, had the same problems Artie had. You know what I mean? Like, these are Artie type stories, but you're pretty much sober when most of the stuff is happening.
Yeah, I've never done drugs, you know, a little marijuana or whatever, but I've never done drugs in my life, never done coke, any of that stuff, but I just always hung around.
I got a question.
Yeah. What?
When you were at a baseball game, I don't remember, but I remember you telling a story about you smoking pot.
Did you really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't at a baseball game. It was actually at a concert.
Yeah.
It was the first time I smoked. Because, you know, back in the day, like everybody, if you went to a concert, everyone would just pass the joint around.
Yeah.
To whoever was next to you. You didn't even have to know the person. It would just come down the aisle and everyone would have to take a hit. So that was the first time I smoked.
Yeah. But Luke, he does make pot seem pretty cool, doesn't he? You know? You never do that, right?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I don't like it. I don't like, no offense to you, Jim, but I just don't like drugs. I say no to them. How about you, Luke? Like, if someone tried to give me drugs, I'd be like, no. How about you, Chris?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, if you see once you start seeing people act on them, you'll realize that was the whole thing. Why I never did coke before.
Yeah,
growing up in like the '80s, coke was everywhere.
Annoying coke conversations.
Yeah, annoying coke conversations. Me and my friends would just hang on Friday night, get our paychecks, and go out to the club to try to meet girls.
Yeah,
but we'd always drink a few beers before we go out, so we didn't have to buy them at the club. And just have a nice little buzz on going in, and then these guys all of a sudden started bringing coke into the mix, and then we wouldn't leave the house.
Right,
it'd be 3 a.m. We just missed everything.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how we stole the American Indians' land. I didn't even know they knew what an American Indian was before they did that first line.
Yeah.
And they spent their whole paycheck on an 8-ball, which was like $250.
Yeah.
And I just bought a 12-pack of Bud cans for $8.99. So I always said, I never want to be like that guy. I never want to be just babbling all night, solving nothing.
Yeah.
And being completely depressed the next day until you blew your whole check. I go, it's not my thing. I get a nice little buzz on, so I was afraid, I was shy talking to girls.
Yeah.
With a little buzz, I had a little more balls to do it, and that was it.
I can't picture you shy. You were shy when you were younger?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm always shy.
Yeah.
Sometimes he is. No, we were in a restaurant yesterday, so at the Comedy Cellar, we're eating, right? And the waitress was over. He goes, "Do I know you?" Luke says, she goes, "I don't think so." He goes, "We never met before?" And she goes, I'm not sure. Maybe I've been working here. Maybe have you been in here?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, then maybe I waited on you." He goes, "Okay, yeah, that must be it." And then she put her hand like on his shoulder and she walked away. He goes, "That's how you meet girls."
Yeah, and at the Strax Factory, this waiter wanted to get my autograph, and I wrote my autograph on her weight pad, and then after she gave me a hug, and I was like, and then Dice was coming out, and I was like, get away.
It's the last thing you needed.
Yeah, one of the waitresses wanted his autograph right when Dice was walking on stage with the music and all that stuff. So he signed it really quick. But he's like, "Come on, I'm watching the show. I don't want to
watch the show a little
I don't want to watch. I don't want to sign autographs right now."
Can you imagine? He's already done a show with Dice.
That's insane.
Fantastic.
And you have fans. You're doing autographs. I mean, that's huge.
Because his Dice's sons are in a band. So last time he was around, he had Luke in the back room. He goes, "Listen," he goes, "You're going to be in a band." He goes, "Don't bring girls around the band." He goes, "They're going to be a problem." He goes, "You got to practice. You got to keep working." He goes, "Don't bring band girls to practice. You'll get the girls. The girls will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get them involved because then you're not going to be able to practice. She's going to want to go out. Keep them away." He goes, "When you do your shows, they're going to be all over you. That's when you." So he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay, all right, no problem."
Right.
So you know,
you go to concerts with your dad, right?
Yep.
Who you dig? What band you like?
Manson.
Yeah.
But I never saw him. Korn, Slipknot, a little Papa Roach.
Yeah. Not all of it.
And a little Black Sabbath.
Now I see you wearing an AC/DC shirt too.
Yeah, he's seen them with Axl and Brian Johnson.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's right.
Yeah. Which one did you like better?
I like the Axl.
Yeah. Now, was Axl walking then, or was in that big broken leg?
No, he was
chair?
walking
He was
when he saw him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He knew a lot of the AC/DC songs, so that was good. It was a good bonding thing. Seeing with some of the shows, some of the bands, he only knows a few songs.
Right. But also AC/DC is at least singable. You know what I mean? There's never...
They're fun.
Well, we were actually talking about this. I don't know if anybody else has as many big rock songs that can make the whole room sing.
Yeah.
As AC/DC.
Yeah, because we saw the set list. There was like 17 songs, and he knew 10 right off the bat.
Right.
So it was great. So then I had him learn like 3 other ones, so he knew pretty much most of the set list, which was great.
But that's cool to also see Axl Rose. It's a legend, Yeah,
because you don't know if they only did like 10 shows, so you don't know if they're going to do any more.
Yeah.
But, he was at a point where he would fall asleep around 10 o'clock or 10:30, and we'd have to go in the car in the parking lot, wait for our friends, and he would go to sleep. And I'm like, I'm missing the last half hour of the show. Mm-hmm. But now he just sleeps right in the chair. He usually comes out about 10:30. He's out, but he's got the headphones on, the kid headphones.
Yeah.
And he's out, and he doesn't hear anything. So I'm like, perfect.
Now, do you got any friends that take their kids to shows? Or
Yeah, my brother will take his son, who's 10. So he'll be there sometimes. But he's usually
but last time he took him to Ozzy. I think he was 9 or 8.
Yeah.
Chris, you plugging, right?
Yes, Jim, Luke, Florentine are in studio. Jim's book, Everybody is Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. Jim's doing a reading and book signing tonight at the Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. And for tickets and more of Jim's upcoming book signings, go to jimflorentine.com.
So many funny stories in here. And it seems like you never run out of crazy stories. A lot of it is because you were crazy when you were younger, and also because you know every crazy person in the business and grew up. I kind of came into the business with people like that.
Yeah, I gravitate towards the crazies. You know what I mean? But then at some point, you got to just let them go because it's just too nuts.
Right.
But I always like a person that's defective.
Yeah.
That's just, you don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. But then as you get older, you're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I have there's a guy, Gary from Florida, that's in the book. And I can't hang out with him too long because he gets drunk within an hour and then he wants to fight people in the bar because he says something rude. I'm like, I can't get in fights at this age. I can't do it. I can't hang out with you. As soon as I see you drinking, we got to go. I know. I'm like, he's got about 15 minutes and we got to get him out of here. He's like a cranky kid.
Yeah.
In about 15 minutes is nap time. Got to get him out.
Who are the comics that you came in with? Who was that crew of yours? Well,
it was Jim Norton.
Yeah.
Vinnie Brand.
Uh-huh.
This guy, Eric McMahon, that was from... and then, Rich Voss was already established.
Right.
And we'd meet him in New York City, and he took a liking to us. Him and Colin took a liking to us, to me and Jim Norton. And we'd crew come in from New Jersey and just hang out at the clubs. And then eventually Voss would take us on the road. and, get us gigs and stuff. So, we were only doing comedy like 6 months or whatever, but he liked us because we were just degenerates.
Uh-huh.
So Voss thought that was funny. So he'd bring us out. He goes, look, we're going to bring this opening guy. You pay him $25. And Voss just wanted company in the car. There was another guy, Bob Levy, was another guy. Bob had a bad alcohol problem, so his wife didn't want him to drive. So me and Norton weren't drinking. So we have gigs like 6 nights a week. Just because of his alcohol problem, which was great. Yeah, it's like, no problem. We'll do whatever. And then Otto and George was another one. Right. Otto never had a car, so we'd pick him up and drive him to gigs. So we got a lot of work really early in. And we were both living at home with our parents, so we didn't have to make a lot of money.
Otto and George is still to this day one of the most unique acts of all time. Mm-hmm. Of all time. And to think that you just walked into that when you were younger. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't do anything else but had Otto and George stories, you'd be set. You know what I mean? You would be more interesting than most of the people that you ever went to school with.
No, I know. It was amazing that for some reason these guys gravitated towards like me and Norton. They liked us because New York City comics kind of shunned us because we were from Jersey.
Yeah.
And they thought we were just like white trash and just had dirty jokes and, lowbrow comics and stuff. So they kind of they were all in their sports jackets with, you had a T-shirt and the sneakers and the jeans. We're coming in with like Black Sabbath shirts. I had the long hair at the time. Like, who are these guys? Are these guys even comics? But eventually we broke in.
Right.
But, Colin definitely paved the way for us a lot, especially the clubs in New York.
And a big part of that is Colin just saw you guys, or Voss introduced you to Colin?
Yeah, Voss introduced to Colin, and Colin just thought we were funny because Norton would tell us prostitute stories.
Yeah.
And Colin was fascinated by that he was so honest. And, so then he just would go, hey, put these guys on stage, give them some time. And that's how we got in.
Now, you and Luke doing this is fun, and you're keeping it fun. But would you really want this to be a life for him if he chose it?
I don't know if he's really into it. I mean, if he could start young, I didn't start till I was 25.
Yeah.
Like if he could start really young, like Chappelle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or these guys that, I see some comics that are like 21 years old and they're really good already. I'm like, damn, I wish I would have started that young, had my act together. So, I mean, if he's really motivated and really wants to do it, the problem is he's done all these theater gigs that are sold out. I'm like, yeah, wait till you go to the sports bar in Philly when they won't turn the flyer game off because they're in the hockey. And they go, okay, get on the mic, start the show, and people are yelling at you. He's got all the gigs. He hasn't gone through the crappy ones yet. He has no idea when he goes to an open mic and the mic's not working. He's supposed to do a set.
Yeah, it is. It is so funny of how quickly the audience is into this, because I was talking about this before with people. There is a talent to all this, right? There's a God-given talent, and it's a talent that adults, teachers generally don't like. You know what I mean? Like, they're never happy with the funny kid.
It's actually like squashed out of you as a young person.
Yes, they try to squash it out of you. Where any other talent, they try to move you ahead. But the funny kid is seen almost as like, oh, we got to do something. And then even the funny kid's friends take a lot of heat for laughing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the worst. And it's just like, if you're just like talkative or you express yourself as an adult, that's a very important.
Plus.
It's a very important thing to be funny, charming, express yourself. As a kid, they're like, "Why are you talking right now? This is a lesson." And I never understood that. I was like, "Why can't this just be a conversation?"
When did you know that you were going to be able to do comedy? I mean, was there a certain thing that clicked for you?
I was always a big stand-up fan. I love Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Like, he's so underrated. Like, no one mentions him in their, like, favorites of all time.
Right.
I just love that setup punch, make fun of himself, and just really quick one-liners. I was always attracted to that. And I was a big Carlin and Pryor. Yeah. But, when I realized I couldn't play an instrument, I got to the point where all my friends were in bands. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
I was DJing like in rock clubs and on a little station on the radio. And then I realized I didn't want to be my own boss. I wanted to be my own boss. Because when I did like a morning radio show in New Jersey, a 100-watt station, and I would get in trouble for cracking like a joke, like a quick joke. It wasn't even dirty or anything like that. Like, don't do that. You might offend somebody. I'm like, I'm going on stage.
Right.
I go, because when Kinnison and Dice came out and they brought like a rock mentality to stand up, that really attracted to me. I wasn't attracted to the guy in khakis wearing sneakers with the sports jacket, but when those guys came out, they had a band with them, and Dice had a leather jacket. And then I said, I'm going to get up on stage eventually. It still took me about 8 months before I went on stage. I was petrified because I wasn't good at public speaking at all. Well, even when I was DJing, I was in the booth and nobody cared, and I would barely talk. I would just play the music. So just to get in front of people was horrifying. But I eventually did. I was on vacation in Florida with a girlfriend. I saw an open mic night. And I said, this is perfect because I had a whole bunch of stuff already written. I said, because nobody's going to know me.
Yeah.
So if I bomb, no one's going to know.
Yeah.
And I ruined the whole vacation because the whole vacation I was walking up and down the beach learning my lines for what I was going to say. I ruined the whole vacation. She was
what
so
down
mad.
In Florida?
In Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
It was a place called Area Code 305. You remember that?
No.
There was a restaurant where it was like a singles place, and there was phones at each table. So if you saw a good-looking girl at the table, you can call her.
Oh my God.
It was a pretty famous place. Yeah. And they were having like an open mic on a Tuesday night. I was driving by coming from the airport, and I saw that.
I wish I was alive.
Right, that'd be easy to meet girls.
Yeah.
Now I have a new way.
Yeah, I know. You get a new way. Do I know you? That's a good one. It's old, but that's a good one.
Do I know you?
It works
perfect.
though.
Yeah.
It works though.
Yeah.
So I went up there and I just did fine. I didn't get any laughs except for some guy. He heckled me and I said something back, and I felt that laughter from the crowd, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I came back to New Jersey and I just started going up, and that was it. From there.
When you bring up both Dice and Kinnison, it was Rodney who kind of introduced both those guys to a national audience. Mm-hmm. Did you ever get a chance to meet Rodney?
I met him once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Norton were in Vegas doing some shows, and we're trying to hook up to meet Rodney. And we got in touch with his management or whatever. He goes, look, and Rodney was like 77 at the time. He goes, look, Rodney would love to meet you guys, comics from New York or whatever, young comics. He goes, but he just quit smoking pot this week, so he's not in a good mood. I'm like, he's 77. He just quit smoking pot. But I did meet him eventually. He did O&A back in the day, so I got him to meet him once.
That's pretty cool, right?
It was amazing.
Because at the time, like, wherever he went, he kind of was a rock star. You know what I mean? Like, everybody dug him. And I hadn't given it much thought, what you said, that, he doesn't make the list of the all-time greats, because anyone who was around then thought that he was just amazing. Like, I remember even wanting to stay up at night if he was doing the Tonight Show. That was like a big thing. If Rodney was doing it, because, Carson loved him. That was it for me.
He would do 6 minutes or 7 minutes of jokes and then sit on the couch and do like 5 more minutes of jokes. Yeah. He was amazing. Every appearance, he was spot on. But I know supposedly he worked on that for like 3 months.
Oh, sure.
He would do that 6 minutes every night, 3-4 shows a night, same one. He was so obsessive like that.
That was his version of putting out, a special. You know what I mean? That's how bad he wanted to kill on there. And that was the draw. At the time, that's what put asses in the seats when he killed on that show. And I mean, you would just see Carson just doubled over the whole time that he was out. It was really great TV.
I mean, when you have lines like I was so ugly as a kid, I had a trick or treat over the phone. I mean, that is just genius. Yeah. I'm so ugly that when I went trick or treating, they tried to pull my face off.
And Jackie wrote for him a little bit.
Yeah,
which is really crazy.
Well, Jackie writes in the same vein as him,
right?
Quick one-liners. So I know I guess he had a bunch of writers and stuff, but he was a big influence.
Yeah.
And when I started in bars in Jersey and doing these little firehouses, you really had to get to your jokes quick,
right?
Or a strip club. We were working a strip club. We do this. So I knew, like, I took the Rodney style of doing quick one-liners.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell a story. There's no way they were going to listen, and I wasn't seasoned enough to deal with the silence at the time. So I just go quick, set up punch, set up punch, set up punch.
But even now, you like to get a joke out pretty quick, and the younger guys never do that. The younger guys are always like taking their time, walking around saying stuff. But the guys who have worked the road know you got to get almost an immediate bam.
I like that first joke right off I can gauge the crowd and I feel comfortable. I got my first one. It's almost like a first cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
I got that first sip. I'm good. So I don't like going up there and put myself in a hole right off the bat.
Right.
But then you feel like you can take your time after that.
Yeah, then I can take my time after that, but I want to get that first laugh under my belt. You know, and then once I do, me and Ronnie have this whole thing. We've talked about it before. You know, it always changes whatever's going on. You know, so now it's about Louis. I said, I was going to see him on Louis. And then I have a whole thing. So it starts off my show. And then I know I got that laugh and I could gauge the crowd because it's pretty edgy. I'm like, and they're laughing like, good, now I can go for the kill here.
Chris, we plug. He's not just dropping by. He's got a big book out. We're all excited about it.
Jim and Luke Florentine are in studio. Jim's book, Everybody's Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. Jim's doing a reading and book signing tonight at the Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. Then he'll be at Vintage Vinyl in Forge, New Jersey tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and Book Soup on February 25th at 4 p.m. in L.A. And for tickets and more about Jim's upcoming book signings, go to jimflorentine.com.
Luke, you thinking book yet, or is it you're gonna wait a while before you put one out?
I'm gonna wait a while. Now.
Now, do you ever listen to your dad's telemarketer albums? Some of that.
Oh yeah, I hear like all of them.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of prank calls?
Oh, I was on one of his CDs. I was like on his like 5th.
Yeah, he's on a track called Luke on the last Terrorizing Telemarketers, where he, the guy's trying to sell me some car warranty. I said, let me go with the other owner of the car on the phone, because he has to make a decision too, and then he pops up. Hi. Like, that's the other owner? I'm like, yeah. Like, so that's a toddler. I go, no, he's not. He's 23. He's just got a high voice. Yeah, Luke. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, John Lowry.
Yeah.
This is in regards to your vehicle's warranty coverage.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Do you know the approximate mileage on your vehicle this time?
I'm not sure. The co-owner of the car will probably tell you the mileage.
Sure, no problem.
Luke, pick up.
Luke?
Hi.
That's the co-owner of the vehicle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just not a joke, sir.
Okay.
He was laughing about something else. He might know the mileage on the car.
Sir, I believe that you're taking this phone call not seriously.
Who is it?
You aren't, sir.
Why are you saying that?
Well, you put a child on the phone.
He's not a child. He's got a high voice, sir. He's 24 years old.
Really?
Well, why don't you ask him what you needed to ask him?
How many miles are on the vehicle?
Luke, how many miles are on the vehicle?
48.
48 what?
48 what?
48 miles.
On a 2012 Honda Accord?
Yes.
That's great.
So good.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. And those are harder to do now, I guess, right? Every year it gets harder to do some kind of.
If you got I put a landline in my house,
Yeah.
and they just call constantly.
Still.
Oh yeah, because if you're not on a do not call list, or no one
Yeah.
has a landline anymore anyway, now they're calling your cell phones, but that landline just rings. And me and Jameson were doing, we'll sign up for stuff. Like if we go sign up for a mortgage, they call within 30 seconds. We just fill out a form. Yeah, we need a mortgage. We're trying to borrow $100,000 in 2 seconds. They're calling. You need a mortgage? And then we just mess with them. Because they're thinking, like, there's no way someone's going to go on their website to fill out a form for them to call and mess with them. Who has that time? We do.
Those things, once I start to listen to it, I just keep going and going.
So
and,
good.
and honestly, I laugh like I'm a little kid. Like I'm a little kid. That's how hard I'm laughing at that stuff. And that was your original pop. That was your original claim to fame, right?
Yeah.
Those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just put one out just to sell at my gigs.
Yeah.
Just to sell at my gigs. And, no record label or anything like that. I just got 100 printed up at a local printer. And then Stern started playing them.
Which was insane.
Yeah. He started playing. He's like, who is this guy? Oh, my God, we got to get this guy in studio. And a month later, I'm in studio. And then 3 months later, Crank Yankers comes around because Kimmel.
Did it happen that fast? I didn't realize
maybe 6 months. Maybe 6 months.
Wow.
Kimmel and Corolla were big Howard fans, and they heard my stuff on there. They go, "Who is this guy?" They contacted Gary, the producer. I said, "Look, we got who is this guy? Because we're doing this new prank phone call show. We like his pranks. We want him to be on." I was the only unknown to get on Crank Yankers. That cast was Tracy Morgan, Dave Chappelle, Jimmy, Adam, Sarah Silverman. You know what I mean? Some heavy hitters. I was the only unknown guy. Like, who is this dude?
And yet, that was the breakout character. That was the one that all the kids were doing immediately.
Special ed, and Bobby Flay. Yeah, they would do. I mean, it was at college football games. I was recording it. They would score a touchdown. They were playing it. People would stay like, I'm at a Washington State game. They're doing special ed because they just returned a touchdown. I'm like, oh man. And I'd be online at the movie theater. I remember when it first started hitting, these kids in front of me were doing it. And I'm like, I wanted to tell them like I do that, but I'm like, I'm not going to do that because they're not going to believe me. Like, yeah, why are you in Freehold, New Jersey on a Friday night? You don't do that voice.
I never realized that all happened that fast.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's really crazy.
Yeah, it was because where has there ever been in the history of television a show where they made prank phone calls?
No.
Never.
No.
It just came along at the perfect time.
Well, even in the book, you were saying, like, when you heard the idea, you're like, well, that's stupid. You know what I mean? The puppet's stupid.
You know what I first thought? When my manager's like, look, they want you on the show. They're guaranteed 6 episodes. So, of course, I go, yeah, I'll do it. I go, I'm just worried when I walk into the Comedy Cellar and I see Jim Norton, Keith Robinson, and Rich Voss, how they're going to destroy me. And Patrice was still alive at that.
Yeah.
That you're on this stupid show with puppets. I was going to go, I'm going to get such shit for this, but I'm like, all right, I'll do it anyway. And then it just took off.
You had even told me before that the first time that Norton heard you doing that voice, he knew it was going to work for you because he started doing it right after that.
He knew, yeah. He was, because he was my roommate at the time, and he'd be sleeping and hear me in the other room going, yay, yay, like screaming at the top of my head. He'd walk out, he goes, that thing is going to sweep the nation. And I go, no, because I'm telling you, I can't get out of my head that people are going to love that. If it ever gets out there, they're going to love it.
That's hilarious.
And then I told him, I go, Jim, how ironic is it now that I basically played like a retarded character and bought a house. And it was like probably the biggest thing in my career. And you're playing almost like a retarded character, and it's almost the biggest thing in your career.
Right.
And we're 2 friends and 2 roommates. You know, who would have thought? Special ed and Chip, you know.
Oh, that show. You guys went in and did Chip's show, right?
Yeah.
Look, was that fun for you?
Yeah. Hey, lady, we got special ed at our house.
When we did that gig in Connecticut, he was at the merchandise table with me. 11 people came up and said they saw him on Chip.
Is that right?
We counted 11 people.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he loved it. It's right up his alley.
Well, that was a big show too that night. Mm-hmm. And I hear we're going to do something else, the 3 of us again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be cool later this summer or early this summer. So it'll be a blast. You're going to make the road trip, right, Luke?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
But what's the road trip? I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, we're going to work it out, but
I got to make sure the money's right. You know what I mean? If you don't.
Well, with Voss, you never know if the money's going to be right. That's the other thing. He hasn't had to really go rattle a cage before like that.
Yeah.
Had to go down there and say, this is not what we said the money was going to be.
Wait till you get shorted by a mob guy, and then you want to confront him about the other $25 you were supposed to get.
Remember when we did that theater with Joe Howard, Chad Zumach, and you and me?
Yeah.
And remember that guy when you were on? He was like drunk, and he was like, oh no.
Yeah, I remember.
My wife's at home.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was the night before the Super Bowl outside of Philly. There was a bunch of drunk guys. Yeah. Yeah, I know. He's like, what was wrong with that? Why was he picking on me?
I love you.
Yeah, he wasn't picking on me. You're going to have to deal with that. You haven't dealt with a heckler yet.
Right. Yeah.
Wait till you deal with that. Like, I hated that joke. And I'm like, oh, boy.
Did you watch the Super Bowl, Luke?
Yep.
Were you rooting for the Eagles?
Yep, Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, that's right.
He went to the parade, too.
Did you? Did you have a good time?
It wasn't that wild. I just saw it. And no, it was a little weird because I was walking into the parade, and there was this girl going into the bathroom in the woods.
Yeah, that's Philly.
Yeah,
really?
Very typical.
That has nothing to do with anything.
That's definitely Philly. Definitely Philly.
So is your mom's family from Philly? That's your Philly connection?
Yeah, the mom's side, they're all Eagles fans.
Yeah.
So,
is it South Jersey they're from, or are they from
like Trenton area, around there?
It's really weird how different Jersey is, like North Jersey from South Jersey. It's like two different states.
Yeah, and I'm in Central Jersey, so the Philly teams weren't mine. I was more of the Giants, Jets. I don't even like those teams, but that's my area.
Right.
But then you go a little south,
just a
west,
little bit south,
down, then it's Philly.
Yeah.
So, yes, but he's a Miami fan because he's
a
Miami fan. But the Eagles like his second favorite team.
Yeah. The Dolphins, the greatest football team. The song's so stupid.
Miami Dolphins. Remember your neighbor?
Yeah.
Because we used to live down in Florida, but we were for the Bucks, and our neighbors were for the Dolphins. So we would just shoot water balloons at each other.
Get a rivalry
every single Sunday. Because it's Florida. Water balloons not going to hurt anybody. It's always hot down there. But you go down for any games with your dad? I know your dad tries to hit some games in Miami.
I can sing the whole entire song.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball, the goal like no one's ever seen. We're on the ball. We're
Don't ask me because when I tune that song out.
Yeah, right.
I know it goes when you're talking Dolphins, you're talking Super Bowl. I don't know the other line.
They must have wrote that in '73.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl because we're the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I know. They must. Yeah, they did write that in '73.
Yeah.
They've been to 2 Super Bowls since, and they lost both. But yeah, we go down to like once a year. We go down like once a year.
Yeah.
They
we'll
won
go down
the
and check a
Vikings
game.
and the Redskins.
Wow, that's pretty good. The Redskins are the one that they went undefeated, the last undefeated team. But then they went back to third year, and I thought, that should have been 3 in a row. And who they lose to?
No, they won the championship game against the Raiders when Ken Stabler was falling down. He threw that ball in the end zone, and Casper caught it, and that knocked them out because they were like 12-2 that year.
Yeah, they were a gigantic team that year.
Yeah, they should have won. And then the next year, right after that season, and Larry Zonka, Jim Kick, and Paul Warfield went to the WFL, this new football league.
Yeah, the World
they got like $1
Football
million
League.
contracts, 3 superstars leaving a team.
Yeah.
That's like Gronkowski, Brady, and Amendola leaving the Patriots after a Super Bowl. That's how, and the Dolphins were shit for like the next 10 years until Marino came along.
And that league was nothing.
It was over in a year and a half. They played one season, they ran out of money.
Yeah.
And then Zonka came back to the Giants, and that's when that whole Pasarchek thing, that whole play, that was Larry Zonka, where it hit off his hip, and they ran that back, the Eagle game.
The madness, though, of that you hear just like $1 million. You know what I mean? And it being an unbelievable amount of money.
Because I think Larry Zonka said he was making like $60,000 a year, and they got offered $1 million a year. Like, of course I'm going to leave.
Yeah, $60,000 a year, and he's the best.
Yeah.
Well, that backfield with him and Kick,
and Mercury Morris,
and then Mercury Morris was the best of all time. And all those guys were crazy as shit off the field. Crazy. Like Florida people. Like they were.
Yeah, nuts.
When you think of the South Florida businesses, that's what they were involved in.
Don Shula, the coach, was, almost like a Bill Belichick.
No.
You know what I mean? Like real stern and don't mess with him. Didn't have a really good sense of humor. And Larry Zonk and another guy on the team decided, let's put an alligator in Don Shula's shower because he had a separate shower at training camp, and they put an alligator in the shower to mess with him. They go, and Shula says, I would have cut you if you didn't gain 1,100 yards last year.
Jim and Luke Florentine are in studio. Jim's book, Everybody is Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. Jim's doing a reading and book signing tonight at the Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. And for tickets and more of Jim's upcoming book signings, go to jimflorentine.com, on Twitter at Mr. Jim Florentine.
But Chris, you're acting like Luke's not going to be there, and he obviously is.
And Luke Florentine will be with Jim Florentine.
Yeah. With or doing his own thing as well. I mean, he tells jokes.
He'll be doing some time as well.
Yeah. Going to do a street joke tonight, or what are you going to do? Do you know?
I don't know if I'm going to do the street joke.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to do the street joke.
You never know until the last second, right?
Yeah, he didn't come up with a set list yet. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you don't have the sweats on, so you can't really do the leather jacket joke.
So I think I'm going to do the street joke tonight. So I'm going to do Dad's Gay.
Yeah, that's good.
That's killer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite joke right now.
Still, I mean, that's definitely closing material.
What else are you going to be doing besides Dad's Gay?
Baseball and street joke.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to do well for you.
Please do the Magic Johnson joke.
Yeah, why not?
Why can't he do a magic?
Well, no, it's a joke that I do. He wants to do my joke.
Yeah, let him do it.
Yeah.
Because you got all those other jokes, man.
Thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty raunchy.
Right. But it is just for stage.
Yeah, maybe
you know?
maybe at a smaller gig.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
What?
It just seems like you already have a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
And that if he could have one or two.
Yeah, but this is like Gallagher and Gallagher too. Are we
Right.
going to be in court? I'm going to sue him over it because he's doing my material.
Why don't we do it this way? How about you each do it? Whoever gets the bigger laugh can keep it. That could be
I have
fun.
a feeling I know who's going to get the bigger laugh.
Okay, let's do that one.
Yeah.
All right, maybe. We'll figure it out.
Let's do that one. Game on.
Game on.
Game on.
Now, after he went off stage, we brought him back out for a bow. That's how crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Crazy the room was going.
That's huge.
Yeah. And then later, Voss got off to, polite applause, I think.
Oh, we were getting set for like sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
And we saw it on the TV. It looked like a midget.
Oh yeah, we were setting up our merchandise. There was TVs outside the venue before you go in the theater, and there was a big screen. And Voss did look like a midget.
But
like the stool he was like only like 6 inches above the stool in the picture.
I had to wait. I had to wait for Voss to, so I could close up the show. But he was doing real well. So these guys went to set up merchandise. And I'm like, yeah, he's going to look at the clock. I go, he's going to get off in 5 minutes, right? And Florentine says, oh, he's doing well. I bet it's more like 15. It was like 25 minutes later because he's milking every laugh out of that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he loves it. So it's good that he goes on last. But he did a long time. I knew it. I said, I got plenty of time to set up the merchandise and we'll get everything together. I don't have to rush it.
At about,
yeah, because, if he was supposed to do like 15 more or 5 minutes more left, then he was like, no, come on, Luke, let's unpack, because I know he's going to do like 5 minutes.
It's true. Like, at about an hour or 10, he's like, so what else is there to talk about? He's saying, I'm like...
I like to end strong. I don't want to stretch it out at the end. You know what I mean? I'd rather do, if I'm going to do that, I'll do it in the middle.
He could have a T-shirt that said "Leave him wanting less" because he was having the time of his life. But even he was saying he didn't know whether he could follow Luke. He was saying to me back then, he goes, "I got to follow this," and that's another reason why I brought Luke back out for an applause break.
Oh, right before you brought our race. That's great.
Just to give him a little speed bump. Chrissy, we wrapping this up?
Yes, we are.
This up.
Well, why don't you give them a plug of where they're going to be tonight?
Jim and Luke Florentine will be at Jim's book. Jim's book, Everybody's Awful Except You, is available now in stores and online. And Jim and Luke will be doing a reading and book signing tonight at the Stand in New York City at 6 p.m. And he'll also be at Vintage Vinyl in Forge, New Jersey tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and Book Soup on February 25th at 4 p.m. in Los Angeles. For tickets and more information of Jim's upcoming book signings, go to jimflorentine.com and on Twitter at Mr. Jim Florentine.
And I felt like I knew every Florentine story before this book, and I'm cracking up.
No, you got like 90 more to go.
There's like 90 more to go, easily. Thanks so much, you guys.
That was great, guys.
Thank you for having me, of course.
And we'll see you again soon. I can't wait till we do the next gig. Bennington.
Bennington, Raw Dog Comedy, Sirius XM 99.
So much fun, right?
Yes, I love Luke.
What a great kid, right?
He's such a great kid.
And you see that connection that those guys have, and there's just something, there's something very courtship of Eddie's father about them. And, it's like, well, Luke does these does his stuff, but he's not like a wild run around kid.
No.
And then Florentine is like, to me, one of the all time edgy guys, but he's like, all right, buddy.
Right.
Easy, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to do the thing. Remember the plug. We do it. You know what I mean? Like, he's got that connection. If you want a copy of this book, you got to look at it this way. We got a little Twitter contest. How do we win, Chris?
You tweet at Mr. Jim Florentine about how you like the interview, about how you like Jim.
It's a first responder type thing. So out of our first responders, it's going to be at Jim Florentine, at Mr. Jim Florentine. Just tell him what, you had a good time with him and Luke, and we'll pick out one of the nicer ones, and then you get to you'll get to win this. It's a very, very funny book.
It's so funny. There's so many big laughs in this book.
And just straight craziness. Again, even when I was asking him, how do you get in this kind of stuff? You're not an alcoholic. You're not a drug addict. So there should be no reason that you and the police are having a run-in over a guy being rolled up in a rug and thrown into a trash can. You know what I mean? It shouldn't happen that way. You also shouldn't have been living in that bad of an apartment. You know what I mean? Why are you in this crazy, filthy apartment? You're not tweaking. All right, at Mr. Jim Florentine, and make sure you say something about Luke too, because we love this kid. How about when I told you, Voss said the three of us are going to do something else together, and he's like, "Wait, how come I haven't heard about this road gig?"
And Jim's like, "We'll talk about. We're working out.
We're going to work everything out." But
so nobody told me about this.
Yeah. So, Chris, we got anything else we got to talk about here today?
Ron, you'll be performing tonight on Comedy Juice at Gotham Comedy Club, 9:30 p.m., GothamComedyClub.com for tickets.
And let's plug the first responders again.
And first responders tweet at Mr. Jim Florentine to get a signed copy of Jim Florentine's new book, Everyone is Awful Except You.
That was really funny, too, when Jim brought up about special ed and Chippa.
Oh, yeah, that's
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that, but
two characters couldn't be further apart. But in the book, he told that story that Eminem was a big fan, and then they did that thing with Special Ed and Special M at the Grammy Awards. And I'm like, I forgot, or maybe it was the MTV Awards. And I'm like, oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that all that stuff happened super fast.
Yeah, that's like insane to turn around in just a couple months, have that kind of a...
And be life-changing. You know what I mean? That's the weird thing about it. Be absolutely life-changing for him. All right. That is it for us. At Mr. Jim Florentine, at Mr. Jim Florentine. And we'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!